Brace yourselves, Detroit. As the sun begins to set, two of Woodward Sports' brightest young stars will be taking the mic for a brand new show. Woodward Nights with Booner and Broder. The dog days in Detroit are over, and the boys are unleashed. Join in on the banter and hop on the bandwagon of the #1 night show on the internet. Tune in to the Woodward Sports YouTube channel every weeknight from 8 to 10 p.m. Woodward Nights with Booner and Broder.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Morning Woodward Show here on the Woodward Sports Network. It's Friday. Man, Lions play this weekend. We got to see the Pistons last night. We got a packed show. And guess who's back? Jeff Iferdi, Sam Flannel, Brandon Nett, a.k.a. Detroit Kool-Aid, and, of course, the GOAT, JB. On the ones and twos. Look at that, man. He's back in the fold. JB.
Woodward's MVP.
Oh, Kool-Aid, Samuel, Jeffrey.
Samuel.
Let me talk to you. My, oh my, I'm so happy to be back with you all. And might I say, I am so glad to be a Lions fan as well. We got the whole city saying, go, Lions, go. Yeah! And might I say, I love you guys. I'm just happy to be back.
We love you too, JB. Look at he's got the glasses on. See, his celebration was a little delayed because we didn't get to see JB when they won the division.
Oh yeah.
So we got it's still sinking in for everybody. Welcome back, JB. We missed you. Kenji did a great job, but it feels good to have JB back. He's the heart and soul of this network.
Well, Kenji can finally get some sleep.
Yeah, I feel bad.
Yeah, that dude was like working Woodward nights, coming and turning around and coming here in the morning. So, Kenji did a great job, and I will forever be grateful to him for stepping in for these last couple of weeks. But I'm so happy to have JB Smooth back. It's just, the family is one. It's beautiful. It's beautiful, man.
People chiming in. Jordan says, Jeff, damn, JB's honeymoon finally over with Sierra. Glad to have him back.
Hey. Had to take those extra days. You know?
Yep. It was weird. We beat the Broncos, and then you just kind of disappeared. It seems kind of like it was planned. Like you and Sierra, like Russell lost. She's not interested in him anymore.
Sierra just needed a little comfort. Yeah. That's all that was. You know.
JB slid right in there and slid right out. Well, pause on that. But he did. He did. Ooh. Sorry, Russ. That's why he's cut. See, he's trending downward. JB's trending upward. That's how it works.
Factual.
Factual. Speaking of the Pistons, by the way, congratulations for the Pistons. Congratulations. They did something that you don't see a lot of. It's very rare. It's very significant. Like honestly, I almost asked social team to make a social post for it. No, they didn't tie the all-time consecutive loss record in the NBA. They didn't do that. They went to OT with the Celtics. Congratulations!
Lose in regulation.
Congratulations,
They didn't lose
Pistons.
in regulation, man. Good
Happy
job.
for you, man.
Great
Happy for
job,
you.
Pistons.
Went to OT and lost. Congratulations. What a day to be alive, huh? Well, they fought their asses off. They did. And by the way, for people that were on Twitter or X and you checked out Spenny's tweet, we talked about it in the group chat last night, and I was talking to some people in the back, and I'm just on FanDuel, just kind of scavenging, looking around on this game, and I saw the Pistons were plus 900 on the money line. It was plus like 870. So I sat there for a minute, and I thought, this is just, I've never seen this. We don't see often this bad of a team, but to see those type of odds, I'm like, do I sprinkle? Do I sprinkle a little bit of money? And then my heart was telling me, Jeff, don't do it. Jeff, don't do it.
Do it.
Don't do it.
Do it.
And then my mind told me, well, at least we'll go to the spread. So we had Easy chiming in. He sent a little 2-leg, 3-leg parlay involving the spread as well. They were plus 17.5. I thought to myself, will they actually lose by 18 or more? So we all talked about it as a group. We put a little parlay in. It was Pistons plus 17.5 and Duren over 10.5 rebounds. It was plus money. We hit on that. I stayed away from the money line. We won some money last night. But Duren, thank you. And the Pistons, thank you for covering. Hey, good teams win, but great teams cover.
Oh, great teams like this version of the Detroit Pistons. Oh, well, here's the thing. And this is the funny thing about last night's loss, because if it were just within the flow of the season and you go to Boston and lose, especially in overtime, you think, you know what, that's a damn good performance, and that's what's supposed to happen, especially considering that Boston is now undefeated at home. It's a little disappointing that they jumped out to a 19-point lead in the third quarter. It pretty much all dissipated away, but I was impressed in a lot of ways with how the Pistons responded in the fourth quarter. They didn't wilt. They responded. Cade Cunningham, after having a phenomenal first half, and he kind of ran out of steam in the third quarter, he rebounded. And one thing that I also was impressed with, and because we're taking away some positives, because losing at Boston, especially with Jason Tatum and Kristaps Porzingis on the floor, that's not the worst thing in the world. It's definitely their best loss of the season. Congratulations to them. But I was impressed.
We're ranking losses. That's where we are right now.
But here's what I was genuinely impressed with. Jaden Ivey is a guy who has not had the season that we all expected. He was relegated to a sixth man at the beginning of the year, and even when he has played, he hasn't quite looked like the same. His shooting hasn't been great. But right after the Celtics made it 106-100, kind of that dagger by Kristaps Porzingis, I think every single person was like, it's over, pack it up, it's done. But then it was Jaden Ivey who had the and one to make it, to cut the lead to 3. And then it was Jaden Ivey that hit the game-tying 3 to net it at 106-106. So it was just kind of nice that they were resilient and they fought and they lost to a better team. Hopefully, I am more convinced now that this Pistons team can maybe get double-digit wins than I was before last night. I know that's not saying much, but nobody wants this Pistons team to be historically bad, right? Either go 2-80 or go 12-70. That's kind of my mantra of this team right now.
Now, even though there's a very select amount of positives, I think one of those positives was the backcourt. I think the Cade, Ivy, what you're starting to see, which I'm glad this finally clicked with Monty. It's like, dude,
been from the start of the season.
Yes, you guys are so bad. Why not just start those two and figure it out? Because you're gonna lose. You were losing games anyway, and they're finally together on the court playing heavy minutes together. Sometimes being staggered, and you see them both playing well. You mentioned it. Cade took over, and Cade. Death taxes. Cade just playing well. It just kind of happens now. Ivy late in the game took over right before overtime, and then he kind of took over in overtime. What sealed the game for me, though, Kool-Aid, in OT, when I knew it was over, even though it wasn't over, but as a Pistons fan, I knew it was over, is the momentum swing late in OT. You had Ivy give up that and one to Drew Holiday. Cade comes down the court, turns the ball over. After that, it just kind of snowballed. They tried to keep up, but those two plays were significant. There was not a lot of room for error there.
Yeah, man.
In OT.
Yeah, what you saw last night was the difference between the team that has 8 rookie contract players and the Boston Celtics. Still without, they were missing Jaylen Brown, but they still had experience all over the court. But like you said, there's only so many positives you can take away from the Pistons, but one of them is Jaden Ivey, Cade Cunningham, looking, good in the backcourt. I know that there's some people who wondered if they would be able to mesh, if they would be able to play well together. And this is what we should have seen from the beginning of the season. Heavy minutes from realistically your two of your 3 top draft picks during the Troy Weaver era. It's like, let those guys just go out there and play, man.
No question.
Let them go out there and play.
No question. At the same time, I found myself tuning into the Pistons. Meanwhile, Joe Flacco is just lighting up the Jets defense. What society are we living in? You had the Pistons go to OT with the Celtics in the Garden, and then on the other side, you had Flacco just dotting up the Jets defense, which seems to be checked out at this point, because that ain't the Jets defense of earlier this season.
To me, and I know that this is going to sound a little hyperbolic because Joe Flacco obviously had a very long, successful career in Baltimore, but to me, this is Joe Flacco's second most impressive accomplishment of his entire career, of course coming after that postseason run, which culminated in a Super Bowl MVP, because those Baltimore Ravens teams that he played on, they had a lot of talent. There was Ed Reed on some of those teams. There was Ray Lewis on some of those teams. It wasn't quite like what it is this year, where Joe Flacco had to, and I get it, the Cleveland Browns have a lot of talent. They've got some pieces, but no Nick Chubb. They lost their quarterback. Dorian Thompson-Robinson and P.J. Walker were absolutely horrific, and the Cleveland Browns just needed a quarterback to steady the ship. And not only has Joe Flacco steadied the ship, he has been one of the reasons they've been winning those games. That man is throwing it downfield, slinging it all over the place. Amari Cooper thanks him for having one of the best seasons of his career, one of the best finishes of the season to his career. A guy like David Njoku, a guy who throughout most of his career, and I don't mean this to be a dick, but was kind of one of those looks like Tarzan, plays like Jane. This year, he's actually having a great year in his 7th season. So this offense, this Cleveland Browns team, especially if that defense is playing well, led by guys like Myles Garrett, Denzel Ward, they might be a threat in the AFC, for real.
We know what's impressive, and I mean, we know the defense, of course, but for Joe Flacco, you had no Nick Chubb. Well, he's had no Nick Chubb. The Browns lost him early in the season, but Jerome Ford's been really good. He's been solid.
Sure.
But they also didn't have Amari Cooper.
Last night,
So but again, another 300-yard passing game from Joe Flacco and 3 passing touchdowns against a very good defense, well-coached defense.
Well, that's the thing.
So it's like even without 2 of their better players on offense, Joe Flacco's balling. I can't. Yeah, he throws a pick pretty much every game, but hey, you're going to take that. He's slinging it all around the field. The guy, you're going to live with an interception. He's throwing 3 touchdowns pretty much a game. He's those Browns, man. I know I ranked them behind the Chiefs. I was wrong. They're a good football team, and Flacco, that's going to be a dangerous team if he keeps playing like this. A dangerous team in the postseason. And this comment here I want to bring up, bada bing, bada boom. I love the name, by the way. Can Flacco win comeback player of the year even though it's so late in the season? That guy's comeback player of the year.
If it wasn't for like the whole DeMar Hamlin situation, then yes, Joe Flacco would absolutely be comeback player of the year. But I mean, I would vote for Joe Flacco because he saved the season.
Like I get DeMar Hamlin, like the guy died. Like literally, he died on the field and came back. So like you kind of got to give him comeback player of the year. But if we're talking about like coming back and playing like super well, Joe Flacco came out of nowhere and he's actually playing really well. Yeah. He actually, the offense for the Browns looks better with him than it did with Deshaun Watson, who they gave historic money to.
Well, and the thing
that's crazy.
And the thing about the Browns too, and I know it doesn't matter to some, but the Cleveland Browns, led by Joe Flacco, they're just really exciting to watch. I mean, Joe Flacco is playing like a true gunslinger. Yeah, he's gonna turn the football over quite a bit. I mean, even last night he threw a pick 6, which was a batted ball and all that, but it didn't matter because he threw 3 touchdowns of his own to more than make up for it. It's a fun offensive team to watch, and you haven't been able to say that about the Cleveland Browns very often in our lifetime. Joe Flacco is playing the quarterback position for the Browns better than anybody since maybe that year where Baker Mayfield led him to the playoffs. But he had Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt. I mean, that running game was more the reason to me. But this year, it's Joe Flacco. This offense, this is a team, and I said it earlier on, that I don't want to face them in the playoffs, especially given the fact that of Joe Flacco's postseason pedigree as well.
It's not. Yeah, it's like it's a very famous saying. Not always who you play; it's when you play them. And this Browns team right now is a team that I don't think many teams want to play, if any. This comment, Trisha Miller: once a team hits Flacco for real, this run will be over. Fun to watch until then. NFL loves storylines. Phil says, "What's going on in Green Bay with the coin toss gate?" That was basically Jair Alexander in his hometown of home state of Carolina, just going out on the field and doing the coin toss, even though he wasn't ruled a captain. So you're not even allowed to go out there if you're not a captain. He just said, "Hey, deuces, I'm going out there and doing the coin toss." So they suspended him. Yeah, it's just like a dumb. It's stupid.
Jair Alexander has officially jumped the shark for me, especially because he's not even playing that well this year. But he's one of those, I would say. He's kind of starting to remind me a little bit, and I know they're kind of different irritants, but he's kind of becoming like what Cortland Finnegan was. I was so happy when he got his ass beat by Andre Johnson on the field, and I'm starting to feel that way about Jair Alexander. Like, congratulations, you just cost your team the services of yourself when the Packers are still in a playoff race. I know that it's unlikely that they'll make it, but still, you would like to have the guy who has been an All-Pro and a Pro Bowl cornerback in the past, but because Jair Alexander decided to be selfish and a clown. What if the Packers lose? What if they give up a bunch of big plays to Justin Jefferson? You could maybe equate that to maybe them not having Jair Alexander. So congratulations. You played yourself.
Matt N says, I liked Flacco's response to comeback player of the year. He said, "Come back from where? The couch?" ? Well, that's fair. That's also fair. He did come right off his couch, but it's even more impressive that he just came off his couch and he's playing this well. Let's go to break. When we come back, we'll get into the Lions-Cowboys game. What must the Lions do to leave Dallas with a victory? We'll go through that, the breakdown. We're going to have Micro Mike joining us at 9 o'clock to help us break down the game as well. Can't wait for that. We'll be talking a little bit about the defense, CeeDee Lamb, that matchup there, Dak Prescott, because CeeDee Lamb's only a couple catches from breaking, I believe, the single-season reception record for the Cowboys. Could be mistaken. I'll double-check that. But Michael Irvin will be he'll be in attendance. I think it's his record originally. A lot of pressure on the Cowboys to win this game. Stars are coming out to watch this game. We'll get into the breakdown. We'll get into some Jared Goff discussion as well, because his numbers, and Booner brought this up originally, numbers are impressive, but could this game push him if he plays super well into an MVP candidate? We'll talk about that. And then, of course, in the second hour, after Michael Mike joins us, we'll get into Michigan, Alabama. We'll get into the preview. We'll break it down. And then at 9:30, we'll give our score predictions. It'll be a fun show planned for today. But first, got to hear about our friends from Lady Jane's.
Yes, come to Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men for an award-winning haircut experience, just like the haircuts that they give me, the A-plus haircuts from the A-plus stylist. And when you come in, you can register for a chance to win a all-expenses-paid trip to the 2024 NCAA tournament. Who wouldn't like that? A great haircut plus a chance for an amazing trip that is coming right up, by the way.
Ooh.
Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men, open 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. It's wicked awesome.
Oh, let me tell you about Jack Labrador, because, guys, I know holidays are kind of coming to an end here. It doesn't mean you still can't purchase a game like Jack Labrador. It's a fun one. You play with some of your friends, or some lady friends, huh? You go over there, you play some Jack Labrador, you get some drinks. It's a lot of fun. It's basically like rock, paper, scissors, but on steroids. It's a lot of fun. It's the one deck that brings 3 games to the table. Perfect for lazy, last-minute shoppers. Scan the QR code above or go to www.jacklabrador.com to get your decks today.
Join Woodward Sports' own Jeff Iafrate, along with special WSN guests for the most anticipated Lions season in decades. Filled with different surprises and expert analysis. You're not going to want to miss out. Go to our Woodward Sports YouTube channel on Sundays and tune in live from 9:30 to 11:30 a.m.
We've just received word. The world's cannabis supply has vanished. The public is outraged and has taken to the streets in response to this tragedy. The individual responsible acted alone, and we can only hope they will make things right soon.
Let me tell you about our friends over at Les Stanford. What happens when you run a business for over 50 years? You expand and offer more products to more people. This is exactly what Les Stanford has been doing by adding Les Stanford Buick GMC, the same great service that customers have come to know and trust on Woodward Avenue, just south of 9 Mile. Check out Les Stanford in Dearborn today. Find the brand you want at lesstanford.com. All right, it's that time. Lions, Cowboys this weekend, or tomorrow. Another Saturday game, but technically it's a Monday night game, but on Saturday, of course, because of New Year's Day. This is a big game. Only game that's on. The world will be watching.
Only game in town, baby. Let's go.
The world will be watching the Detroit Lions take on America's team, the Dallas Cowboys, led by Dakota Prescott. CeeDee Lamb. The stars will be there. Jimmy Johnson night, Ring of Honor. Michael Irvin will be in attendance. This is, you know what this is? This is another opportunity, and the Lions have had a couple of these, to just spoil a night. Like, just go in there, kick ass, and get out of Dallas like you stole something. Like, they have an opportunity to do that. But the question is, and what we're going to do today, is walk the audience, and you guys feel free to chime in, and we'll get to some of your comments as well. What do the Lions need to do? Some must-dos for them to leave Dallas with a victory. And Sam Flannel, I'll start with you. What do the Lions got to do?
All right, so I'm gonna focus most of this segment on what they can do offensively, because the biggest matchup of the game to me is the Lions offense versus the Cowboys defense, because the Cowboys defense has been damn good this year, and the Lions offense, I mean, the Cowboys defense is top 5 in scoring and points allowed, and the Lions offense is top 5 in points scored. But one place where the Cowboys are vulnerable, and we've talked about it a lot this week, is that they can give up some yards on the ground, and the Lions are They're third in the NFL in rushing yards per game, but the teams that are above them are Lamar Jackson-led Baltimore Ravens and the Justin Fields-led Chicago Bears. So as far as teams that run the ball with their running backs, nobody does it better than the Detroit Lions. And you even saw recently that the Cowboys can be hit with a great running performance. That's what happened against the Buffalo Bills, who James Cook just ran all over them. And I think that is what the Detroit Lions absolutely have to do. You have to run the football. I would honestly not mind if they called a similar game to what Joe Brady called for the Buffalo Bills. Not throw the ball too often, but just keep it going on the ground, because there hasn't been very many teams in the NFL this year. I would say the only one that has really stopped them on the ground was the Tampa Bay Buccaneers way back in the day, and that was the game in which David Montgomery went down. They were running with Craig Reynolds for a lot of that game. So if this running back duo is healthy and this offensive line is healthy, I do not believe the Dallas Cowboys can stop the running game. But that means that the Detroit Lions have to get ahead and play with the lead, because conversely, if the Lions play from behind and have to abandon the run game and have to drop back 30, 35, 40 times, I think it could be a rough day. Yes, Penei Sewell can pass block with the best of them. Taylor Decker, he's had some struggles at some point this year, but he can pass block as well. The offensive line is also very good pass blocking, but that Cowboys pass rush, it can be lethal, especially when they can pin their ears back and just go after the quarterback. Micah Parsons is obviously one of the scariest pass rushers in the NFL, but it's not just him. Dorrance Armstrong has 5.5 sacks. Sam Williams has 4. DeMarcus Lawrence has 4. So they have players all across that defensive line that can cause some trouble. And I think another thing where I know this isn't really anything tangible, but the Dallas Cowboys are coming off of a couple of losses on the road, and they're coming home where they have been absolutely dominant this year. The Dallas Cowboys this season have outscored their opponents at home in 7 games, 279 to 108, for an average margin of victory of 40 to 15. They have absolutely been dominant. And here's the thing, you can talk about some of the bad teams they played, but they decapitated the Rams. They knocked Matthew Stafford out of the game. In a game where Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua played, but Kyron Williams didn't. They destroyed them. They destroyed the Philadelphia Eagles at home, who have a damn good offense as well, and their only touchdown in that game was a Jalen Carter fumble return. But at the same time, the Dallas Cowboys, they're battle-tested, but they've also given up they've had some bad defensive performances. They gave up 42 to the 49ers. They gave up 28 to the Eagles on the road, and they gave up 31 to the Buffalo Bills on the road. I get it. The Cowboys are at home where they've been pretty much dominant, but the Lions are one of the toughest opponents they've faced this year. So I think if the Lions can run the football, just keep the clock running, get ahead, and just play conservatively, I think they have a good chance of winning. But if they don't, if Jared Goff if they have to play from behind and drop back a bunch of times, I do think they're vulnerable to Micah Parsons wrecking the game, and I do think they're vulnerable to maybe Jared Goff throwing one up for grabs, where they have Deron Bland in the secondary, who's been the best turnover creator in the NFL this year. Just run the football and be conservative.
That's it. I'm 100% with you, Sam. It's about what they do on the ground this game. That's everything. They're number 3 in the NFL in rushing yards per game. We know what this offensive line and these 2 running backs can do, but it's important for a lot more reasons than just dominating the run game or running the football on the Cowboys, because they can't simply stop it. There's more to that. The other thing is keeping this defense on the sideline. That is important. What they did against the Vikings, and even though the game was a 1-score game, when it was all said and done, they still dominated time of possession. Time of possession is going to be important tomorrow as well. That's a big part of that game, because this Cowboys offense, say what you want about Dak. Like, I know it's fun to poke fun at him. I do it. I hate the Cowboys. But CeeDee Lamb's a problem. He's a big problem. And the more time you can be on the field, and the more time that the Cowboys offense and your defense can stay off the field, that's a positive. You don't want to have your defense gassed. You don't want to be turning the football over. And now you got the Lions defense coming out, who is already not great, but you got those guys just in a compromising position already. So turnovers, of course, we say this every single week. You can't turn the football over. But the run game is everything this week. The Cowboys don't have a big front seven. Like, I don't want to use the word soft, but they're not great against the run. They haven't shown that. In the Bills game, I mean, you had a running back in James Cook, who's been kind of underwhelming all season, just completely destroy the Cowboys. And could it be an anomaly? Potentially. I don't think it will be because, again, you look at the offensive line the Lions have. I say this every week. The Cowboys have yet to face an offensive line like this one. It's different. I would put them number one right now in the NFL with how they're playing. The best backfield in the league. That's going to be a problem. And how do you neutralize a good pass rush, Sam Flannel?
You run the football.
So it's a lot of different reasons why running the football is going to be extremely important. They have to find success doing it. Micah Parsons is a problem. They're going to move him around all over. He's played in multiple spots along the defensive line. He's played in the box. I mean, Dan Quinn moves him all around. So it's not just the Panay versus Micah. It's going to be the Micah versus Panay versus Decker. Maybe he goes inside. They run stunts for him a lot. Because we all know what happens if they put him on Panay. Just like a magician. He's going to put him in a hat like a rabbit, and he's going to disappear. That's exactly what's going to happen. It's going to be like David Blaine. Evaporation. He'll be gone. Like Danielle Hunter. You didn't hear about him. What happened? Micah Parsons different, though. They're going to move him all around. So they're going to put him in favorable matchups. So it's not going to just be Panay versus Micah. Micah could wreck this game. But you have confidence. This offensive line is very good in pass protection. So running the football is going to be important, not turning the football over. And Deron Bland is an interesting one because he's a pick six artist. We know what he can do. He turns the football over. That's what he does. And he's a pretty good corner. There's been a couple games where he's gotten exposed, that Seattle game. But for the most part, he's actually not too bad. But here's the thing, though. We've seen pick sixes change outcomes this year. That Seattle game, what happened? Pick six. You lost by a TD and OT. You have to be careful here. Jared Goff in his career as a Lion against Dallas, he played last year. Wasn't great. Again, different roster. They got to be ready this week. You're going into Jerry World. It's a tough place to play. Cowboys average, 40 at home? What is it, 30, 40 at home? As opposed to on the road where they average 2 touchdowns less. They're a good team at home. They're comfortable playing at home. I'm not worried about the offense as much as I am the defense. I'm concerned. Now, can they be opportunistic? Yes, they can. And that's how they're going to have to be. But I'm telling you, CeeDee Lamb had 100 yards in the first quarter last week, and they didn't target him at all in the second and third quarter against the Dolphins. Imagine what they're going to scheme up this week. You don't think they think about that? Oh, we should have got CeeDee Lamb more involved. I can see him having a huge game, and that's my concern. You got Cam Sutton banged up. We'll see, but if I had one concern about this football game, it's turning the football over because of who they have in Deron Bland, who can return it for a touchdown, of course, and then the corners. Cam Sutton, who's going to play alongside him? Kendall Vildor, Khalil Dorsey, is Jerry Jacobs back? That's my concern because it's not just CeeDee. They got some weapons now. Brandon Cooks, Jake Ferguson, and Dak Prescott. Say what you want. He's having a good year, as opposed to last year. So I would say those are the must-dos to win offensively and defensively. They just got to get pressure in. Creating turnovers, of course, helps. But Tyron Smith is on the injury report. I don't know if he'll play. He's been banged up. He didn't play last week. He's a 50-50 this week. If he doesn't play, another opportunity here. This Dallas offensive line, they're solid, but it could be an opportunity. They got to get after Dak now, and he's mobile. So I'm more worried about the defense, to be honest with you, 100%. And this offense just has to keep on the sidelines, Sam. Just keep them on the sidelines.
Sure.
Dominate time of possession.
Absolutely. And I know we're going to get to the defense a little bit more in the next segment. But offensively, we already talked about it. If the Lions can run the football and get ahead, I have no doubt that they will play a clean, relatively turnover-free game, or maybe even turnover-free game. That would be the most ideal. And then it would create opportunities for Jared Goff to do what he does best, play action pass and throw those short passes to Amon-Ra or Sam Laporta, or hell, even Jamison Williams is getting more involved as a possession receiver. But I will say this, if the Lions do have to play from behind, if Jared Goff in the Lions offense does have to get predictable, I do think they turn the football over. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's so funny, and this is where sometimes Lions fans annoy me a little bit. My fellow Lions fans annoy me a little bit because we look at the Cowboys game last year and just only look at it as the Penei Sewell, Micah Parsons phone booth game, while also forgetting that Micah Parsons absolutely obliterated the Lions when he was on everybody else. He completely wrecked that
That's what
game.
They're going to do again.
And I think, and this is not a shot at Taylor Decker because he's good, but I think Micah Parsons will murder Taylor Decker if he's matched up one-on-one against them. Penei Sewell, I have all the confidence in the world that Penei Sewell can hold his own and maybe even take Micah Parsons out of the game. But Taylor Decker, he's good, but he's also had some injuries this year, and he is getting a little bit old, although he's not really past his prime. He's just a very, very good tackle, and I think Micah Parsons could do to him what he did last year, just murder him and like completely wreck this game. But it would take the Lions having to play from behind in order for that to happen, in my opinion, because I think the run game, if they commit to it from the beginning and can do it effectively, which they pretty much have every game this year, then that can neutralize some of the Micah Parsons problems. Because Micah Parsons, he has been neutralized in some games when teams can consistently run the football. He's not a great run defender. He is just a terror when it comes to pass rushing.
And Micah Parsons is a problem because of his bend. Like, he's not like Aiden, where Aiden's he's a big human being. Like, he's a bull rusher. He's got a couple moves, but he's just big and strong. Micah, he's about 6'3", but he's just hard for guys that, if you're 6'7", 6'6", you're a tackle, it's hard to just stay in front of that guy. He's too quick. Like, even for Taylor Decker, I could see Micah, he's going to pose some problems here, but they got to get the ball out quickly. Yes. And the other thing also is, and this goes in the Lions' favor for time of possession, the Cowboys aren't a great third down defense. The Lions are a great third down offense. So in terms of extending drives, I think the Lions are going to have an opportunity here. I'm going to get to some of these comments because they're chiming in. Eduardo, my guy, says, kind of talking about what I said earlier about that Bills game. He says, it's not an anomaly, Jeff. Cardinals, San Francisco Bills all ran all over them. And you know what? That's fair. They're 19th right now in the NFL in run defense. I meant like how much the Bills dominated. That's what I meant. Like, I think Josh Allen had like 14 pass attempts. They just said, we're going to run all over you. But he is correct. Dallas has not shown they can prove to stop the run, especially I think against this run game. It's different.
And the thing too is, it was such a shock. It was one of the most shocking stat lines I think I've seen in the NFL in the last few years. Because with Josh Allen, it's always been he has to do everything himself. He has no run game. This year, James Cook has kind of given him a bit of a run game. But in that game against Dallas, Josh Allen threw for 94 yards. He only threw 15 passes. So Micah Parsons' pass rush was kind of rendered useless because James Cook was running it up and down the field. And I'm not saying, here's the thing, I don't think there's ever going to be a scenario, even if they should, where the Lions are going to throw the ball 15 times. I think, and this isn't a knock, I don't think Ben Johnson's ego will allow that because he is a genius, and if they do run the ball, I think it will open up some plays, some opportunities for the Lions to be effective in the pass game. But should they just commit to running the ball as often as the Bills did? I wouldn't hate it. I think it might be the right thing, but we'll see.
You know what I would love too? Run the ball right at Micah Parsons. Like, he hasn't. And I think that's what they did to some extent. I mean, they fumbled the ball multiple times last year at the goal line, so like they melted down. I would, you know what? Run the football right at Micah and be like, we're gonna make you tackle. Like, you're not rushing you're gonna have to play the run and be physical. And he's not a. Like I said, this Dallas defensive line, they don't. And Nazi Smith's going to play, by the way, Michigan man. He'll probably play out there, and he's a body out there for the run. He's solid, but they don't got a lot of guys that can just absorb space. Like, the Lions got multiple guys like that. When Aleem McNeil's healthy, Benito Jones, Isaiah Buggs, just good run defenders. Which I think the Lions will have a pretty good matchup. I think they'll hold Tony Pollard. I think they'll be able to contain him. But I think this Dallas defensive line, you can run right through them. I think so. And that's going to be super important here. Don't shy away from the run. And you know how you do that? You don't go down quickly, and you don't turn the football over. Because if they're down 17-0 in the first quarter, you're thinking, oh, shit, okay, we can't run the foot. We're going to have to, just like the Bears game. You get down like that. You're like, well, we're running the football well, but we can't do it. Well, and that's a problem. You can't get to that point.
And I know the Lions were winning some games early on in the season, in the middle of the season, in which they had a negative turnover differential. But I'll tell you what, if the Lions lose the turnover, if they lose the turnover battle, there is a negative chance that they win this game.
I agree.
Negative.
You can't turn the football over.
But if you win the turnover battle, if you neutralize some of the things that the Dallas Cowboys do well, which I think the Lions are equipped to do, then they can go into Dallas and win this game. And then we can start talking about the Lions as legitimate Super Bowl contenders. I know some are already doing it now, but if you go into Dallas and beat this team, especially with the way that they've been playing at home, that to me would be a more impressive win than the Kansas City Chiefs one. 100%. It would be arguably the most impressive win I've ever seen from the Lions in my lifetime. And I can say that because aside from this year, they haven't had a ton of them.
And I just looked up this stat. What's funny? What's going on?
I mean, he's just on point with it, man. It's like when you actually think about the history of the Lions, it's just like, wait, no, they've had to have a better win. No, they just don't. They just don't. This one is monumental, and you guys are spot on right now, man. Like, the game plan has to be, honestly, make Dak uncomfortable, get Dallas playing from behind, and I believe that that's done through running the ball. That's been their weak spot. And
you think about it, you win the turnover battle, you're probably going to win 70% of your games, maybe even more. Like, it's sometimes it is really that simple. Don't turn the ball over, force a turnover. It changes outcomes. Let's go to break. When we come back here, we're going to get into this defense, and we're going to talk a little bit about a little more about the problems maybe this Dallas offense poses, or maybe some things you don't think that the Lions should be scared of. Whatever your point is, comment in the YouTube chat. I'll try to get to as many comments. Me and Sam will go through it as well. But first, we got to hear about our friends from Dispo.
Yes, the Dispo Christmas Extravaganza, which is going on till the end of December. Experience the Dispo difference this Christmas season. Dispo is giving away a TV as well as 2 $100 in-store gift cards per week at participating locations. Nobody does it like the Dispo family. Unwrap the joy of Dispo Dispensary every week. Join them in celebrating for the holidays. See store for more details. Dispo Dispensary, disposhops.com, your local cannabis plug.
Have you ever wondered where all the finest restaurants get their steaks? It's Fairway Packing Company, providing Michigan restaurants, hotels, and casinos with prime beef for over 60 years. But now you can buy these cuts of meat for yourself at the Steak Shop by Fairway Packing Company. Prime porterhouse, A5 Japanese New York strip steak, dry aged Wagyu beef tomahawk. Delicious. Get to the Steak Shop today. Enjoy fine wine, have a private party, and get the finest cuts of meat anywhere. The Steak Shop on Mack Avenue in Grosse Pointe Woods, or order online, fairwaypacking.com.
Where's the most convenient place to get that big fitness energy?
It's Planet Fitness.
Join today for just $1 down, $10 a month. With over 2,400 locations and equipment for every workout, you can get in, get energized, and get going. And with free fitness training and most clubs open 24 hours, everyone belongs in the judgment-free zone. So join today for $1 down, $10 a month, no commitment, cancel anytime.
Join Woodward Sports' own Jeff Iafrate, along with special WSN guests for the most anticipated Lions season in decades. Filled with different surprises and expert analysis. You're not going to want to miss out. Go to our Woodward Sports YouTube channel on Sundays and tune in live from 9:30 to 11:30 a.m.
Mark White!
Yes, you can save $5,000 on your new home if you contact Mark White and Associates. They are the best realtors around. And you see the way that he can jump up and high point a football. I mean, who would want that guy as your broker? And if you want to contact him and try to get yourself in a new home today, he will pay up to $5,000 of your closing costs. You cannot beat that. Just go to their website, go to his website at markwhitesells.com, or call them at 248-290-8242. Again, that is 248-290-8242. Mark White and Associates.
We're off and running. Morning Woodward Show, Woodward Sports Network. Entire crew here with us. We got JB back in the building. The GOAT. Here to break down the Dallas Cowboys. And I want to get the feel for JB on this one for this defense, because it is my concern. CeeDee Lamb he's the real deal. Liked him a lot at Oklahoma, and you're starting to see now. I mean, last year had a pretty good year, but this year he's really breaking out. Like, he is basically, I mean, Amon-Ra St. Brown, we talk about him being the focal point, but you got a Sam Laporta. You got some weapons alongside him, but it is Amon-Ra St. Brown. He is the guy. CeeDee Lamb in Dallas is the guy. Like, the guy. And then you got some other pieces that kind of contribute on their own, Jake Ferguson. But you look at what CeeDee Lamb has been doing for the Cowboys and just some of the things he's been doing statistically. So far on the year, at least you look at targets. He has 151 targets. The next closest person is Jake Ferguson with 90. So he's got 60 more targets than the next person up, the second leading receiver. So he has 1,400 yards. Jake Ferguson has 659. He is basically the passing offense, along with some complementary weapons. But he's the real deal. And I am worried I am. Now, relax. I'm not saying the Cowboys are this big bad threat. They're a good football team. Lions are a good football team. But CeeDee Lamb, if you're going to sit there and say, scoff at him, be like, CeeDee Lamb, Cam Sutton will put him in a jail cell. You're simply mistaken. He's a tough cover, and Cam Sutton, it's a tough assignment this week. It really is. And I think Cam would even tell you that as well. Last week, Justin Jefferson, what he did, getting double teamed, making these contested catches, and Nick Mullins saying, F it, JJ's down there somewhere. You got a better quarterback this week with CeeDee Lamb, and he's not the receiver Justin Jefferson is, at least in terms of where Justin Jefferson is. I think he's the best receiver in football, but CeeDee Lamb he's up there. He's right around where we have Amon-Ra St. Brown ranked. He's one of the best 7-6 receivers in football. That is my concern. Now, how do you neutralize that, right? Okay, well, number one, you're going to have to get pressure on Dak Prescott. That's going to have to matter. You're going to have to throw off the timing a little bit, and that's on the DBs as well. Got to throw off the timing. You got to get after Dak. Pressure, yes, but get sacks. That's important. And if there's a time where you need this defensive line to just show up like they did last week, because last week they got a lot of quarterback hits. They looked good. They got to follow that up again, because this defense, Sam Flannel, this is an opportunity on a big stage to show that last week all those turnovers we produced isn't a one-off. Like, we're starting to turn the corner. This is the game to do it for the defense. I think a lot of pressure's on them. I think more pressure's on them than the offense. We know what the offense is going to do.
Yeah, this is a tough matchup for the Detroit Lions going up against the Dallas Cowboys. But here's the one piece of good news, and I think we will all agree with this. I am not worried in the slightest about the Dallas Cowboys running game getting anything going with Tony Pollard. And I'm not saying that Tony Pollard is trash or anything like that. I'm more speaking to the fact that the Detroit Lions have really not let any running back go off this year. I mean, the only person who's really hurt them in the running game this year to a great extent has been Justin Fields, and he's obviously a quarterback, and we know about the Lions' continued struggles with mobile quarterbacks, including now. So past Lions teams, even last year, you worried about a running game kind of dominating on the ground, but I don't expect that at all with the Dallas Cowboys. And that is a piece of good news, because I do think the Cowboys will be forced to be one-dimensional. The problem is that Dak Prescott is having a damn good year, and CeeDee Lamb, there ain't nobody in the secondary that can cover him. I mean, Cam Sutton, he's not even 100%, and we don't know if he's going to play, although I think he probably will. But Cam Sutton can't mark CeeDee Lamb. Not a chance in hell. I mean, Kendall Vildor, Khalil Dorsey, whoever you're going to put out there, Jerry Jacobs, I think CeeDee Lamb could just murder this secondary. But it might not matter, by the way, because the Lions offense might be able to outscore them as well. But the thing is, this is where the Lions defense has to either A, get more consistent pressure, which I think the absence of Aleem McNeil is going to hurt, especially since the Cowboys have a couple of good guards in Tyler Smith and the past his prime Zach Martin. I think that's going to work against them a little bit. And if Tyron Smith plays, I think that is a big key, because if Tyron Smith is out, I think this is a game in which Aiden Hutchinson can really leave his mark. And I worry too, especially since Aleem McNeil is out, that nobody is going to really provide consistent pressure with him, unless of course they blitz. If Ife Melifonwu can get home on a safety blitz, or Brian Branch, that would be absolutely huge. But when you blitz, you also are vulnerable to maybe single coverage, and that's where CeeDee Lamb is there and can probably kill you a little bit. So this is a game where they're going to have to get pressure, but the good news is, which they've done all season long, I'm not worried about the run game hurting them, because no running game really has this year, except you can say Baltimore and Chicago, but no running back. I don't believe a single running back this year going against the Detroit Lions has even got 100 yards. And it's not going to happen with Tony Pollard. Not a chance in hell.
It's been consistent. That's been the positive thing about this defense. And of course, you look at last week, you're thinking, well, 400 passing yards to Nick Mullins. Yeah, I mean, a lot of those plays, you go back and watch, it was a, hey, chuck it up, see what happens. A lot of those plays were wide open. It was concerning. Kendall Vildor got beat, Khalil Dorsey. I mean, it is. This secondary's been concerning. It's not a surprise to anybody. But how AG has adjusted, and he's been sending DBs, sending safeties, sending linebackers, mixing it up in terms of blitzing the quarterback, and it's been working. If he has a couple sacks on the year, you got Anzo having a career season. You could send Derek Barnes. I know he's banged up, but still, Malcolm Rodriguez seeing snaps. There's Jack Campbell, another one. AG is going to have to be creative this week. And JB, your concern level with the defense this week, because I think it's going to come down to that. As long as the offense, you don't turn the football over, and they don't put the defense in compromising positions, pressure's on the defense.
Yeah, a lot of the pressure is on the defense. As you guys said, CeeDee Lamb is basically Dak's go-to for every single thing. And I think this is a game where you're going to have to sit here and probably double team him. I do think that Justin Jefferson is a better receiver than CD is, but still at the same time, you can't underestimate this guy as well. You're going to have to double team him. I don't know if Cam Sutton is going to be 100% for this game. I really hope he is, but I still think he'll play. But still, playing hurt at the same time, you're going to need help to slow him down. If you can get him to have another drought game, then yeah, you've got a chance right there, because Dak's going to have to look for other options. He's going to have to look for Tony Pollard. Hell, he's going to have to attempt to even try to run, which Alex Anzalone, you're going to have to step up as well too and kind of cover this guy a little bit more. You know, we have trouble with mobile quarterbacks, and even though Dak doesn't run a lot, he is still a mobile quarterback, and he can still hurt you. So you have to really be on your game with this one, and this will be the toughest Lions test yet this season.
What about you, Kool-Aid? What do you think?
Yeah,
What do you think about the Cowboys, like the threat level this weekend? Like, what's your thoughts on the matchup?
Yeah, that's where I was going with it. It's like JB, he mentioned something really, really key as it relates to Dak Prescott. Like, obviously, Justin Jefferson is a heck of a wide receiver, but his quarterback was Nick Mullins.
Right.
When you add the combination of Dak Prescott with CD, that's where it gets a little tricky. Now, I've liked what Aaron Glenn has done the last couple of weeks, and I think that that's going to put the Lions in a really, really good position to have their best effort against the Cowboys. A couple of weeks ago, I was talking to people who thought that this game was a for sure loss for the Lions. But over the last couple of weeks, seeing what the defense has been able to do, scheming up some things to be able to bring pressure from different levels of the defense, the one thing I want to see them do, and it's more than just pressures, but get home, make Dak very, very uncomfortable. I think that that's the key to this, man. You make him uncomfortable, you can turn him into a quarterback that makes some mistakes. Now, they haven't done that a lot at home this year, but we have seen him make those types of mistakes. This thing is in a dome. It's not outside. That gives the Lions not necessarily an advantage, but it's definitely not a disadvantage. It does not take away from the Lions at all, like we saw when they went to play the Ravens or when they went to play the Bears outdoors. Right. So for me personally, the threat level, this is going to be their toughest test. This is going to be honestly what makes Lions fans feel really, really great leading into the playoffs or have some doubts. And I think that the Lions this week, coming off the last 2 wins, seeing some good things happen in the secondary, seeing some good things happen by making the quarterbacks kind of uncomfortable the last couple of weeks, and honestly getting home, you want to see Aiden Hutchinson get home a little bit more. It's a threat, but it's supposed to be a test at this point in time.
Yeah, it is. I would say Ravens, Cowboys, those are the two toughest games this year. And it is a big game. And this comment here, let me find it. This was, you're going to like this one. More Than Rap Ron says, LOL Pistons made my boy Kool-Aid a Lions insider.
Yes.
Yeah, no, you ain't wrong. But that's what it comes down to. I mean, you saw the Chargers game on the road, and it's a different team. Chargers, at least defensively, are not the Cowboys. But Justin Herbert, Keenan Allen.
Yeah. I think
those two caused havoc, Sam. But guess what? They forced a pick for Kirby Joseph, and that was the change in the entire game for me.
I personally think one of two things will happen, and I've been contemplating this as you guys have all been talking because you brought up some great points. I think one of two things is going to happen. I think Dak Prescott, is going to put up numbers regardless, and I think CeeDee Lamb has a huge day, but they're either going to force him into a turnover or two, probably where, he's had some fumbling issues in his career at some point. They're either going to force a sack fumble or a pressure is going to force him to throw a pick that could flip the game in the favor of the Detroit Lions, and it'll be a close game. Or Dak Prescott has his MVP solidification game, which, as much as we would hate to say that, the Lions have allowed some very, very good games to certain quarterbacks like Lamar Jackson, like Justin Herbert, like even Jordan Love or Justin Fields or Derek Carr. I don't think, honestly, would either of those outcomes surprise you that much? Because we know Dak Prescott, he's done a lot better job of taking care of the football this year,
right.
But he has shown in the past that he can put the ball up for grabs. But also, if he has Dak Prescott, I won't call it a legacy game because he's had a lot of good games this year, but if he absolutely torches the Lions, it wouldn't be that shocking either.
You think this game could turn into it's tough. I think it could be a shootout, too. I think this could be like a 30-27 type of game, 33-30. Yeah. Like, I could see this game being high scoring just because I don't think this Lions defense will be able to stop this Dallas offense, and I don't think the Dallas defense will be able to completely stop this Lions offense. So it's really going to come down to turnovers and what they do on third down and all the the small details to it, penalties, the discipline, all that stuff. I could see this game being high scoring, and it's going to come down to just some key plays. Playmakers making plays. And speaking of playmaker, Michael Irvin will be there, so no pun intended. But I think it's going to come down to those stars shining at the end of the day. It really is. Let's go to break. When we come back, we'll get into a little more of the matchup here. We'll talk about a little bit about Jared Goff, all that and much more. But first, gotta talk about our friends over at Guardian Alarm. Better defense in Dallas by far.
Oh, for sure. It's
By
the best
far.
defense around. You can let Guardian Alarm offer you customized solutions from real experts. Our professional technicians take the time to recommend security and automation solutions specific to your needs. 24/7 professional monitoring. Call us anytime, day or night, and know that a Guardian team member will stay on the phone as long as needed. Technology backed by people. Your safety and security deserves technology that's been proven to work, and people have been proven to care. Call 1-800-STAY-OUT. That's 1-800-STAY-OUT. Guardian Alarm, your local security experts.
Oh, yeah. Nothing. G-G-G-G-A. Oh, sorry, I forgot. There we go. Oh, cheers, buddy. I think we need to get you a pick.
Now, coming to Woodward Sports, Woodward and Main Street, the Woodward Sports Network Detroit Lions show. Let's go! Catch Gabrielle D. Phillips, Matt Broder, and Terry Foster for all the latest news on your Detroit Lions every week. Only on the Woodward Sports Network YouTube channel and woodwardsports.com.
At work and at home, we're there with smarter security solutions. Featuring complete automation with customized alerts and more. For over 90 years, we've been the company that's been counted on to protect what matters most, all with personalized service and care. Right now, for a limited time, receive a free video device plus free installation with a new home system. Guardian Alarm. We protect Michigan.
For over 60 years, Fairway Pack & Co. has provided Michigan's finest restaurants, hotels, and casinos with prime beef, Wagyu beef, and dry-aged beef. Experience the Fairway difference for yourself today. Visit the steak shop in Grosse Pointe Woods for grab-and-go steaks, or you can order online at fairwaypacking.com. Welcome back to the program, Woodward Sports Network Morning Woodward Show. People chiming in, talking about this Cowboys team, and I want to get to some of these because they're interesting. Bada Bing, Bada Boom says Brandon Cooks will have more receiving yards than CD in this game. No, I don't know about that one. And by the way, you're not completely wrong because that would mean Brandon Cooks is probably on Kindle Vildor or Khalil Dorsey. I just think the volume, bada bing, bada boom, that CeeDee Lamb's going to get, he's going to get 15 targets. Like, he's going to have to catch, he'd probably catch 9 of them, 8 of them. And what do you think that equates to in yardage, Sam Flannel?
Probably like low hundreds.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, I don't see Brandon
yeah.
Cooks getting double-digit targets and CD gets like 5. Like, he's on track to break a record. I think they're gonna feed CD.
I guess the better question would be, would that be a good thing for the Lions or a bad thing? Because
if Brandon Cooks leads the team in receiving?
Because I don't want to see Brandon Cooks going off or anything like that. But at the same time, I mean, most of the time the Cowboys have been successful this year. One of the biggest reasons has been because CeeDee Lamb has been one of the best receivers in football. So you never know. It's just, I don't think Cam Sutton can cover him. And I'm not saying Cam Sutton is trash or anything like that, but they're going to have to figure something out in the secondary because Cam Sutton cannot cover CeeDee Lamb, and the Detroit Lions have had trouble for a lot of the year at putting pressure. So I think CeeDee Lamb has a huge game, but so did Justin Jefferson in a loss against the Lions, and so did Keenan Allen in a loss against the Lions, so did Chris Olave in a loss against the Lions, so did DJ Moore in the first loss against the Lions. It might not matter, but I do think CeeDee Lamb goes off.
Justin Reed, oh my guy, he says our linebacker core has to show up second level runs or play action tight end connections. Yeah, no doubt. Linebacker, I think that's going to be a big part of this game. And the Dallas Cowboys is kind of their weakness, to be honest with you. They got Damone Clark and Marquise Bell. Like, they have solid, but I would say if you're talking about the Dallas Cowboys as well, their weakness is at linebacker, and I think the line's strength is at linebacker, one of their strengths. You'd prefer it to be defensive line and secondary, but hey, linebacker's solid. They just got to work on that defensive line. They got to get a pass rush this game, like consistently, not just like, hey, quarterback hit every couple plays. Like, no, you got to be in Dak's face all night. Pause, but I'm not lying on that one. Eduardo says the Rams will be another reminder why we need a true shutdown number one corner. I'm tired of number one receivers going off against us. Yeah, that's definitely probably the number one need this offseason to me is corner and pass rush. Of course, edge rusher, but defensive tackle. They got those two things are probably on the number one. That's like, I know Christmas has passed, but that's on the wish list for Santa. Yeah. Get some corners. Get a defensive tackle and get an edge rusher. Get an end, defensive end.
God, that corner though, it was probably supposed to be Emmanuel Mosley. But even him, even when he's healthy, I don't know if he's that number one shutdown corner. There aren't too many of those in the NFL. I thought at points during the beginning of the year that Cam Sutton was going to be that guy, but the season that he has ended up having, and it's not all his fault because it's hard to cover receivers for 5, 6, 7, 8 seconds, but he has not had a great year himself, and he has been torched many a time this year and given up a lot of big plays. And I do think that, unfortunately, I'm not saying that the Cowboys are going to win. We'll get to that a little bit later, but I do think CeeDee Lamb makes a couple of big plays and is consistent as well. I think he goes completely off, but like I said, the Lions have let wide receivers go off a lot this year and have still won some of those games. It's going to be all right.
What about this one here? Brian Ruth, Tyson Alulu this week. 1 sack, 3 tackles for loss.
Ooh, the legacy game.
JB, legacy game for Tyson Alulu.
Tyson Alulu. I don't know about legacy game. Maybe decent game? Does that sound a little bit better? Decent game?
Yeah, he's gonna be the needle mover in this game. He's gonna push he's gonna push the pocket. He's gonna make Dak pay, and Tyson Alulu leads the team in sacks. Watch out. Let's see this one. Jesse Adams. I think Laporta's gonna get off a bit. I think. I think Laporta could have a big game as well. And same with Trisha Miller. Laporta will have a great game. Cowboys linebackers are trash, and I don't call people trash. Yeah, you're not wrong, though, Trisha. I think that's a concern. I think Laporta, after last week's game, kind of quiet. This could be another game where he bounces back, Sam Flannel.
It wouldn't shock me at all if Sam Laporta is Jared Goff's favorite target in this particular game. Although as much as we like Deron Bland, and hell, I give him a lot of credit for what he's done this year, he has given up some plays and some yards. He has been, at least lately, a little shaky in coverage, and at points this year has been a bit of a gambler. So it wouldn't shock me at all if Amon-Ra goes off, because that's just kind of what he does. But Sam Laporta, bounce-back game. I mean, you can't say that he played bad last week because they still won the offense played well, but he didn't put up the numbers.
Right.
I think this could be a game, especially if he's covered by linebackers and safeties, where he does, I don't know, maybe 6 catches, 75 yards, a touchdown. I think that would be a huge game for him.
Let's see. Q-Ball 93 says this is a J-Mo Tutty game. Fred Fulson says J-Mo is due.
I hope so. Jeez.
Well, that would mean what? Stephon Gilmore? I'm assuming they'd put him on J-Mo, unless they put Stephon on Amon-Ra, and then they had Deron Bland on J-Mo. But I think it would be Stephon on J-Mo.
Yeah.
Which that's a dude. Like, I don't care how old Stephon is. Dude's played a lot of football.
And I'm kind of.
But could he be cooked on Saturday?
Sure. When it comes to Jameson Williams, and this isn't a knock.
What's his 40 at this
I never know what to I'm still at the point where I don't know what to expect from him week by week. It's just now to the point where he's becoming like that every down receiver who's also catching the possession receiver routes, like the 3rd and 8 first downs and the ones in traffic, the ones on the sideline. I don't know if they're going to scheme up something for him, like an end around or a deep shot or anything like that. I'm not in the business of predicting anything for Jameson Williams just yet. You can do that with Amon-Ra because he's so consistent. I think you can do that with Sam Laporta. You can do that with the running backs. But J-Mo, I still think he's a little bit of a wild card. For now, we'll see.
Let's see. A couple people. Eduardo says Waddle cooked Gilmore. Official Flame says, what's the status on Stephen Gilmore? He's just...
Well, yeah.
He's not playing.
If he's not on the field by now, because they've had, Emmanuel Mosley getting hurt and Jerry Jacobs' poor play and him
I just think
hurt.
he's in development.
Yeah.
Like, we like some of the the intangibles, but he, I think Broder kind of spoke on it, and he's well educated with just watching Stephen Gilmore. He's very familiar with him, and it's a different issue. It's not I don't think it's more of like a skill issue, but more so just like his weight, his inexperience. Like, if this team had 2 wins, maybe you'd see him out there.
Sure.
But like you're a playoff team. You're one of the best teams. You can't afford to just throw Stephen Gilmore out right now. Justin Reed says, I wouldn't even call it a bounce back. They just didn't use him as much to be successful.
Sure.
There you go.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Eduardo says Gilmore is good. Bradley Mercer, I don't think Dallas scores 30 points. Question is, will we? I'm going to be honest with you. I would flip that. I think Dallas scores 30. The question is, will we? So that's because I can see, let's just be real, Sam. Dallas against this defense or this offense against the Dallas Cowboys defense? Who's more likely to score 30? I would lean Dallas.
Oh, yeah.
And that's not a shot at the Lions off. I think they could score 30 too, but come on. If we're talking defenses, I don't care how bad they are against the run. This Dallas defense, they're better. It doesn't take a scientist to diagnose, a doctor to diagnose that.
Well, yeah, Dallas has an exponentially better defense than the Lions right now, and I also think they're more battle-tested. They've went against the Bills. They've went against the Dolphins. They've went against the Eagles twice. They've went against the 49ers, and it hasn't always been successful, but they've managed to put up the scoring defense numbers they have throughout the year, despite having played many, many tough games, and in the case of definitely the Eagles game at home, I would even argue the defense did a pretty good job at Miami, and then at home against the Rams, did pretty well against good offenses. And even against the Philadelphia Eagles, they were phenomenal. They completely stifled that offense.
And guys, Dallas, they're not at Ford Field. Yeah. I think people are mistaken. Like, they're thinking this is at Ford Field. Dallas won't score. They're at home.
Yeah.
Check the numbers. I know this is the biggest test for the Cowboys. I will not deny that. And I do think that the Lions, it'll be a close game. I don't think they'll, beat absolutely destroy the Lions. I don't think that's a possibility. If it is, I'd be shocked. But let's not act like the Cowboys aren't going to clear 20. Let's be real here, guys. Like, they're going to score. You're going to have to score 30. Like, the Lions have to score 30 to win this game. I wholeheartedly believe that. This game ain't going to be a 2017. No, it ain't. You're going to have to win this game 33-30, 30-27, 30-24. Hell, maybe even 37-30. It might even be a higher score. Who knows? But there's no way in hell the Cowboys won't score at least 20.
No,
that is like the floor for this. Trust me, guys. Trust me on that. They're different at home. They are. And that's why I think the Cowboys are kind of frauds, because on the road they stink. And the Lions are actually good on the road. They're really good on the road.
But, Jeff, be careful, though, because they just come off a stretch where they played the Dolphins on the road, the Bills on the road. They played the 49ers on the road, and they played the Eagles on the road. They've had their road schedule has been exponentially tougher than their home schedule. So that plays a part in it, because at home, where they've played a lot of easier games, although I wouldn't call the Rams, the Seahawks, and the Eagles easy, they're averaging 40 a game at home. But they also, and we can flip the coin, they lit up the Commanders, they lit up the Patriots, they lit up the Giants. Not that big of an accomplishment. So we'll see. I think this game will tell us a lot. I think this game will tell us more about the Cowboys than it will about the Detroit Lions, because the Lions already have the division locked up, and they're the ones that are to some extent playing with house money. All of the pressure is on the Cowboys.
Absolutely. And that's why I mentioned the Lions are a good team on the road. I think this game will be close, and I do think the Lions can win. And I'll tell you my official final score at the end of the show. But I just want to get that clear. I'm trying to preach truth here. Like, I'm not trying to be like, hey, the Cowboys don't have a chance. Like, guys, let's be a little realistic here. The Cowboys, I think they're frauds. I think they're going to do what they always do in the playoffs and fall short. That's what they do. And I've been consistent with that. But the Lions, the only way the Cowboys don't score 20 is if the Lions offense just dominate the time of possession. Like they're on the field for, 15 minutes by the end of the game. Like something ridiculous.
Are you calling for like a 41-30 to 18-30 time of possession?
It's got to be because they're going to be able to put up points. All right, let's go to break here. When we get back, we'll be joined by Micro Mike. We'll ask him. Let's get Mike's opinion on this. Why not? When we come back. But first, got to tell you about our friends over at Big Boy, because wintertime in Detroit is always better with comfort fruits from Big Boy. Try their new Southern Comfort Chicken Bowl. If you want breakfast, they got it as well. Potato pancakes are officially back. Apple pie hotcakes that are too good to miss. Top it all up with a new gingerbread shake for dessert. Stop by your local Big Boy today.
Savor the heart of home at Big Boy with our all-new down-home comfort dishes. Feast on home-style goodness with our Southern Comfort Chicken Bowl, veal parmigiana, and apple pie hotcakes. The Down Home delight doesn't stop there. Potato pancakes are back. Dive into the richness of our perfectly crafted potatoes with our classic potato pancakes and our stuffed potato pancakes. Top off your meal with our new gingerbread shake, a seamless blend of creamy vanilla and sweet gingerbread flavors. Nothing beats the comforting taste of Down Home cooking. Enjoy every bite, only at Big Boy.
Stop searching for a vehicle and start finding one. Les Stanford Chevrolet Cadillac makes it easy. We harness the power of multiple dealerships and own the biggest selection of GM brands in the area to get you the car you need. With the Les Stanford Group, you'll have access to 4 different dealerships, providing you with more makes, more models, and more choices. We're connected to more than 1,000 vehicles. And with so many high-quality CPO vehicles available, you'll find new car quality at pre-owned prices. You can start and end your search at lesstanford.com today.
Let's talk about Outdoor Equipment Company, official equipment provider of Woodward Sports. Michigan-grown, family-owned, bad boy mowers, tractors, steel handhelds, and even weed whippers. Liberty trailers, Generac generators, Snow X plows, and salters. Outdoor Equipment Co. has it all. Buy it, rent it at 0% financing, delivery to your doorstep. Visit their website at OutdoorEquipCo.com.
We're back. Morning Woodward Show, Woodward Sports Network, joined by a very, very special guest. It's the Micro Mike, who does great, it makes great content. You know who he is. Like, he's joining the morning show. We appreciate you, Mike. Hope everything's well. Hope you had a great Christmas. New Year's coming up here. I want your thoughts. Big game tomorrow, Mike. Big game.
Massive.
Cowboys.
Massive.
And hey, listen, I hate the Cowboys. We can make fun of them all we want, but this is one of the biggest tests for the Lions. I would say the Ravens obviously would be the biggest test. But I want your thoughts on just the matchup. Maybe concern level might be aggressive, but just kind of your thoughts on the matchup this week and kind of the importance of winning this game. Because, Mike, if they win this game, they win the next 2 games, and the 49ers drop one, they could sneak right into that 1 seed.
It's a massive, massive game for the Detroit Lions here. Have an opportunity to get that number 2 seed, potentially number 1 seed. But again, you got to go on the road against the Dallas team that's averaging 40 points at home right now. Really, really good home team. And just like Flannel Sam was saying, yeah, some of those opponents were not as good, but still, they're at home. They do really well there. They score a lot of points there. It's not easy to score 40 points at home. So, look, the Lions got a tough test ahead of them. It's going to be the Lions' offensive line. Can they dominate the line of scrimmage? If they can, the Lions can run the football, run their offense, and they can stay in this game. If that defense starts to get pressure on Jared Goff with Micah Parsons, we may have some problems right there.
Ooh, that's a perfect transition into this. So, Mike, what is your confidence level that this Detroit Lions team, both with Ben Johnson and the offensive line, can keep Micah Parsons from wrecking the game?
I'm very confident that they can if they're healthy, and they're healthy right now, so I think they're going to do their job on the offensive line. They dominated Danielle Hunter. They made him non-existent, and he was the best pass rusher, in my opinion, in the NFL. Did a great job on the road there. Penei Sewell, best right tackle in football. Taylor Decker, yeah, he was dinged up a little bit, but he's a really good left tackle. I think they'll do their job on the offensive line and be able to run the football. I think that's where the Lions really need to stop Micah Parsons, stop the pass rush, run the football. That reduces it a little bit.
Yeah, I think if Penei Sewell finds his way, match it up with Micah Parsons, in my opinion, I think he goes David Blaine on him, Mike. I think he just, poof, makes him disappear. That's what it seems like it's been doing to most of these guys. But I want to ask you about the run game. That's the biggest storyline to me. Jahmyr Gibbs, David Montgomery, the best backfield duo in the NFL. You can argue the best offensive line in football. You got a Dallas Cowboys defense that's kind of been giving up these big, big games on the ground. They happened to the Buffalo Bills, Arizona Cardinals. So your thoughts on that matchup, just how important it is for this Lions offense to run the football, because again, that puts Jared Goff in great positions. You don't have to force these balls into tight windows, and of course for turnovers, you don't want that to happen. Duron Bland, pick six artist all year, and on top of that, if they can dominate time of possession, Mike, and keep this Lions defense on the sideline, that's their path to victory. Time of possession.
How do you win on the road, folks? You win time of possession, you run the football, and don't do turnovers. When you run the football, it kind of does all that with it. And when you have a running back duo in David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs, you got to do that, especially against this defense that's given up 115 yards per game on the run. They're the 12th best run defense in football. We ran the football on the Chicago Bears, who were number 1 at the time. We ran the football on the Minnesota Vikings. We can run the football on the Dallas Cowboys. If you want to pull off the upset, stay with the run game. Now, I'm not saying don't take your shots. Absolutely not. Play action. Give Amon-Ra first down. The first down. That's what you want to see. Get the touchdowns. Sometimes maybe going on 4th down, 4th and 1, because you're playing with house money. You got nothing to worry about. Already locked up the North. But run the football. Stay with it through quarter 1, through quarter 4. You want to pull off the upset, it's got to be on those backs.
Mm-hmm. Yes, and I have no concern that the Lions will win the battle on the ground and outrush the Lions by a lot of yards, or outrush the Cowboys by a lot of yards. But what does concern me a bit is the Dak Prescott to CeeDee Lamb connection. What is your level of concern for that connection?
I've been saying it all week that this offense is going to put up a ton of points. So don't get mad at the defense if Cowboys drop 30 on us. There's just a great offense.
Mm-hmm.
Dak Prescott to CeeDee Lamb has been one of the best combinations in football this year, especially when they're at home. They're at home going against our secondary, our defense. So I'm not going to be too mad if they put up 30-some points. Just take a couple shots, make a couple plays defensively, whether it be 1 or 2 stops or a pick, something like that if you want to be able to get this win. But you're right. It's going to be nearly impossible to stop this offense, especially Dak to CD.
Yeah, and I'm glad you said that, Mike, because I think just kind of getting the feel for Lions fans, a lot of people will be like, well, the Cowboys, they're not going to clear 20 points, and I think it should be the opposite. They're going to clear. I'm with you. They're going to score 30. The question is, and I think they can, this game will be a shootout. Can the Lions keep up with them and just play clean offensively? I want to ask you, though, one player offensively, one player defensively. What are 2 guys, or maybe you can go through a couple, that need to have big games on Saturday for the Lions to come out with a victory, or need to step up?
Let's start with 3 straight games for Futu Mofan. We'll have him come in here and do what he has been doing, getting turnovers. He's really fast when he blitz, safety blitz, and he hits home every single time. If Futu Mofanu can continue his great upward trend right now, it seems like a top 5 safety. The Lions have a shot because he can make plays. When you have playmakers out there making plays, getting turnovers, you can do it. He has done that. For an offensive side, Jahmyr Gibbs. Jahmyr Gibbs has got to come out, and he's got to have those explosive plays, big chunk run plays. If the Lions do that, they'll keep feeding him, and they'll stay the Lions in the run game, and the play action will work. Those 2 players have big games. The Lions have a shot.
Mike, do you think the Lions defense can take the football away from the Cowboys at least once? Because I think if they don't, they will lose. But I think if they do, that could flip the game. It might take one play by the defense to maybe flip the game from like a 4-point loss to a 3-point win or something like that. What is your confidence that the Lions can do that at least once?
Man, Dallas is +8 in the turnover differential. They're really good of not turning the football over and getting turnovers. My confidence level, I would say, is at 40% of getting a turnover. I think it's less likely right now. But again, when you have playmakers making plays, you just need one of those plays throughout the 60-minute game. It can happen. But I'm not too confident because the Dallas Cowboys has been very consistent with holding on to the football.
Yeah, no question about it, Mike. It'll be a good one. We appreciate you joining the show. I want to ask you your final score. If you want to save it for your content as well, that's okay.
You look, everybody knows I'm a big old Lions fan, but I do got the Dallas Cowboys winning this game 35-32. I think they're just a better football team at home. With that said, it is a 3-point game. It can flip. Maybe the Lions get a last possession, but I do feel like the Cowboys should have the odds with them, so I'm taking the Cowboys.
Damn you, Mike. Look at all the Lions fans. You hater. You hater.
Not a real fan.
Not a real fan. No,
I'm kidding.
I appreciate you, Mike, for joining the show. Hopefully we can get you back on soon. We appreciate your presence. By the way, you can find Mike's content, Lions Talk by Chat Sports, on YouTube at Lions Today. It makes great content. You're seemingly just keep growing, Mike. So keep crushing. We appreciate you, and I'll talk to you soon, all right?
Always grow like Vicodin.
Yeah. There you go. Micro Mike, the legend, joining the program. Let's head to break. When we come back here, we'll get into some of the Michigan versus Alabama matchup, of course, and then we'll give our game predictions at 9:30. Why not? All that and more. First, though, got to hear about our friends from Swiss Insurance.
Yes. Do you have football on the brain? Of course you do. With the Lions clinching the NFC North and all of the hoopla surrounding Detroit sports right now, it is the perfect time to shop your home and auto insurance. Shop it like a pro with Swiss Insurance. They cover Woodward Sports Network, and they should be covering you too. Ask for Mark at Swiss Insurance today at swissins.com or call 248-800-4177. Again, that is 248-800-4177, Swiss Insurance.
Swiss!
Where's the most convenient place to get that big fitness energy?
It's Planet Fitness.
Join today for just $1 down, $10 a month. With over 2,400 locations and equipment for every workout, you can get in, get energized, and get going. And with free fitness training and most clubs open 24 hours, everyone belongs in the judgment-free zone. So join today for $1 down, $10 a month, no commitment, cancel anytime.
Woodward Sports' own Tom Mazaway and Sam Stick Day will be hosting our Lions postgame show after every Lions game all season long. Tune into the Woodward Sports YouTube channel for his hot-off-the-press takes, game analysis, and Kool-Aid sipping celebrations. You won't want to miss it. Join Maz, Stick, and special guests each week immediately following every Lions game, exclusively on the WSN YouTube channel.
Gabby is a college student struggling to study for her big exam. Then she discovered Syntron, a healthy way for her to stay awake and focus. Jennifer frequently has chaotic days like this until she gets online, orders some Syntron, and finds her groove. April visited her local grocery store, purchased a case of Syntron, and entered to win the Syntron 100K Vegas giveaway. Pick up your case of Syntron today at any Meijer location or visit drinksyntron.com/Vegas and enter for the 100K Vegas giveaway.
Glorious cannabis. It's football season, everybody. And you know they have dropped their new ice water bubble hash infused pre-roll called Honolulu Blue. It smells so good, it's like the whiff of the first playoff win in 31 years. It's a gassy, aggressive strain named in honor of our Detroit football team. If you haven't had one of these ice water pre-rolls, what are you doing? They are so smooth. You can find them at a Dispo dispensary near you for 25% off or check them out online today at gloriouscanna.com.
We're back. Morning Woodward Show, Woodward Sports Network. Guys, it's time to get into college football. Call a little audible now. Michigan, Alabama. Sam, I know you're ecstatic for it. It'd be nice to, entire E&E's on vacation. Yeah, we can't hear the Michigan men. So I guess you got to hear from this guy.
The Walmart Wolverine.
Poor you guys. I'm kidding. I can't wait, man. Rose Bowl, it's going to be a great game. And, I've been saying it. It's a huge test for, I think, Jim. It's almost poetic. Like, for Jim to win his first college football playoff, you got to beat the man. You got to beat Nick Saban, the greatest college football coach of all time. And now this is not the Alabama team of past years, which you've been making that point consistently all week, and you're absolutely correct. It isn't. And this game, to me, is going to come down to coaching. It's going to come down to who makes the least amount of mistakes. It's that simple. And I know someone asked earlier, and I don't know who it was, so sorry for not giving you the credit. They said, what's more likely to happen? Alabama to score 20 or the Cowboys to score 20? I mean, we'll go with the Cowboys because we already said it because they're at home. But I think this game will be same kind of with the Cowboys and my thoughts on it. It'll be a field goal, maybe even a touchdown game. I think this will be close. I don't see a blowout for either team.
Well, I'll answer that question first. It's obviously the Cowboys. I don't think Alabama scores 20.
Oh, okay.
I really
okay.
don't. I think this is a very low-scoring game. It's going to be where Michigan has to kind of win ugly. Because here's the thing about Alabama. I mentioned it yesterday. I'm not going to go over it in too much detail again. They don't have the running backs and the wide receivers, and I think even the quarterback that they've had of Alabama's teams past. I mean, look at the team even in 2020, the last time they won a national championship. They had Mac Jones. They had Najee Harris. They had Brian Robinson as their backup. They had Devontae Smith and Jalen Waddle. And then this year, if you go to Jace McClellan and Isaiah Bond and Jermaine Burton, and I'm not saying those are bad players, but here's what that leads to. I do not think Alabama will be able to get a thing going on the ground. I think Alabama's offensive line, outside of J.C. Latham, who is elite, who is going to be a first-round draft pick tackle, is underwhelming compared to Alabama offensive lines of teams past. And that defensive line, led by Kenneth Grant, led by Chris Jenkins, led by Mason Graham, all three of those guys are your defensive tackles. Are you freaking kidding me? And they've got depth at edge rushers who are also good at stopping the run, and great linebackers as well. I think the run game is going to be completely neutralized. The one area where I think Alabama could maybe hurt them offensively is if Jalen Milroe is allowed to scramble, get outside the pocket, and just make plays happen. I don't trust the Alabama. I think the Michigan secondary will be able to handle the Alabama wide receivers when there's kind of those like timing route type plays. I think they'll be pretty much neutralized. The one thing that concerns me is if Jalen Milroe can actually extend the play and get outside the pocket, run, because he is lethal running the football, and he can throw the ball downfield with the best of them. So if he makes a couple of big splash plays, I think Michigan could be in for a little bit of trouble. But I think offensively, Alabama does not scare me that much. When it comes to the Michigan's offense versus Alabama's defense, that's going to be a little bit tough, because Michigan, here's what they need to do. Here's the one thing, and I know it sounds obvious, but I'll give you examples of when it worked in the two biggest games of the season at Penn State and versus Ohio State. Michigan, no matter how conservatively they have to play, cannot turn the football over even one time. They have to play completely clean. And they have to, defensively, which I think they'll be able to do, force a turnover or two. That is the main reason why they beat Penn State. That's why they beat Ohio State. When you look at Penn State, who, by the way, Penn State, as much as you want to kind of poo-poo them a little bit, they have a first-round edge rusher. Alabama has a first-round edge rusher. They have a first-round corner. Alabama has a first-round corner. They have a first-round tackle. Alabama has a first-round tackle. And other parts of their teams are a little bit different, but those are some kind of similarities there. Against Penn State, Michigan was ahead 14-9 at halftime, and Penn State actually got the ball first and was driving, and Drew Aller, on a play in which he picked up a first down, or would have picked up a first down on a running play, he fumbled. It was recovered by Michigan. They went out ahead and got a field goal, and it was never really close from there. You look at the Ohio State game, the play that flipped the game at the very beginning was Kyle McCord threw a stupid interception to Will Johnson deep in his own territory, and Ohio State went up and scored and took a 7-0 lead, and were pretty much able to play from ahead for the rest of the entire game. That's what Michigan needs to do. I think they're going to lean heavily on the run game. I think this is a game where they may not get, I would say, a ton of 3, 4, 5 yard runs. I think there's going to be a lot of punts. I think it's going to be one of those where you just have to be patient and stick to your game plan, but maybe once or twice, because they did it against Ohio State and they did it against Penn State several times. I think at some point this Michigan offensive line, with the run game, with the constant barrage, is going to wear down Alabama and get maybe a breakout run or two. Maybe Corum busts one for 40, Donovan Edwards busts one for 20, and that's kind of what is the difference in the game. But I also think J.J. McCarthy, it's not going to be like Penn State, where he never really had to throw the ball. I am worried about the Michigan's tackles against the Alabama pass rush, because when Michigan had to go up against Chop Robinson and Danny Dennis Sutton and Adisa Isaac, they just couldn't keep throwing the ball because they couldn't protect JJ at this point. And against Alabama, they got Chris Braswell. They've got Dallas Turner. That's going to be tough as well. But I do think JJ has gotten a chance to get healthier. I do think he's going to be able to escape the pocket and make some plays with his legs and with his arm, because he's very good at throwing the football on the run. I think that it's going to be mostly a game where Michigan has to win ugly. They're going to have long possessions. They're going to run the football a lot. Not always successfully, but they're going to stick to it. But I also think JJ makes maybe a play or two with his arms and maybe gets that key 3rd and 7 scramble for 14 when everything breaks down. And I think that is going to be the difference in the game. I think Michigan wins. Do you want me to give me my score prediction?
Save it for a little bit. 9:30
right.
We'll give them out. But
right.
I want to read this comment. Jesse Adams says, this will be the best O-line Bama's defense has seen. And it'll be the best D-line / DBs Michigan has seen all year in Bama. Now, to stick on that, the trenches argument he just kind of brought up, you love PFF. It's your king.
Yes.
I actually enjoy PFF too. I don't use it as often as you do, but I think it's a nice tool to kind of sprinkle on my arguments. I always say that. But here you go. Pass rush grade among teams in college football. 2 teams in the top 10 are on this list that are in the college football playoff, and they're facing each other, Alabama and Michigan. Texas is not here; they're 12th, and then Washington's not even in sight. So you have Michigan, who's 4th in college football, at least on PFF, in pass rush grade. Where's Alabama? They're 9th. They have, if you want to give you the exact grade, Alabama has a grade of 87.6 and Michigan's 91.1. I think this game will be one of those games that's decided in the trenches. It will be, because Zach Zinner's out.
Yeah,
it's a big loss. They're still, for the most part, a very good offensive line. It's going to come down to how they run the football. Like Blake Corum, Donovan Edwards, and JJ, even with his legs, they're going to have to run the hell out of the football here. And Jalen Milroe, you kind of brought him up because he can make plays. You go back and you look at some of the things he's had this season. Longest rush this year is of 53 yards. You go back to the last couple of games. They faced Georgia, and they played some close games here in the SEC. So, like 3-point win over Georgia, 3-point win over Auburn. But you look at Jalen Milroe. He had a 30-yard run against Georgia, 37-yard run against Auburn, 23-yard run against LSU, 53-yard run against Mississippi State, and he's had multiple 20-yard plus runs. And that's Jalen Milroe. He's a playmaker with his legs. Now the arm thing it doesn't have the greatest arm. It's respectable, but I think this Michigan defense, it's the biggest test they've had all year defensively. So to your point about them not being do they have anybody that can consistently separate a man coverage against this Michigan defense? I don't know. Jermaine Burton's, he's nice.
Yeah, he's fine.
But they don't have a Devonta Smith who can consistently win one-on-ones, a Julio Jones, all these guys they had in prior years. I think it's going to be tough for those guys. I think for them to generate these big plays, it's going to have to come from the quarterback and his legs.
Yeah, and eventually, if Jalen Milroe can buy enough time, a receiver is going to come open eventually, even if it's going up against this Michigan secondary, which I think is really good. I think that Jermaine Burton could eventually come open if he's matched up against Josh Wallace, for example, instead of Will Johnson. I think Will Johnson puts those Alabama receivers in a jail cell, by the way, but that's Will Johnson. He's one of the best in the country. That's one of the ways in which
he's a dog.
Yeah, that's one of the ways in which Alabama can be a threat. Is just Jalen Milroe just making ish happen, because that's one of the ways in which he's been successful this year. I mean, you look at one of the most famous ones was that 4th and 31 against Auburn in the Iron Bowl, the one that if they would have lost, they wouldn't even made the college football playoff. That was absolutely huge. But yeah, I think it comes down to creating one turnover against Alabama, a big one that flips the game. And I've seen this in the chat a couple of times, and I'll actually agree with you guys on this. They say Michigan's run game is not as good as it was last year. I agree with that one. Blake Corum hasn't looked quite the same, and Donovan Edwards, and I said this yesterday, and I take no pleasure in saying this, has had a terrible season. It's not all his fault, but his season high in rushing yards in a game this year is 52. That's just not going to get it done. But he did have a good game against Penn State, which in my opinion was the toughest defense that Michigan has played all year. I mean, I gave you some of the comparables, like elite edge rusher for Penn State, elite edge rusher for Alabama, elite corner for Penn State, elite corner for Alabama, and Penn State obviously has a ton of other pieces on their defense that are good as well, like Abdul Carter and Adisa Isaac, and I could go on and on and on. And Donovan Edwards played a good game against them.
He did.
Yes, but for most of the season, he was a ghost, and I hate to say it, but my point is that I don't think Michigan necessarily dominates on the ground. I think they bust a couple of big ones. Pause. but I think this is a game, and I don't know if Michigan fans are going to like this, but I think Michigan maybe punts 6 or 7 times and still wins. I think they're going to have some drives that are like 7 plays, 15 yards, but they take 3.5 minutes off the clock and they flip field position. I think that's one of the ways that they're going to win. And there's nothing wrong with that, because I do not trust Michigan's tackles to protect against Chris Braswell and Dallas Turner for too long. I think if they have to pass the ball too much, JJ is going to get killed, because he would have gotten killed against Penn State if they didn't decide to just run the ball every single play.
Well, here's the interesting thing, and it goes back to my point about Alabama's receivers. You can make the same argument for Michigan's receivers.
Michigan's receivers are one of their weak spots,
for sure. I love Colston Loveland, but Jesse makes a great point. Yeah, but Michigan wideouts don't have anyone who could beat one-on-one either. Michigan DBs look good, Sam, because the Big Ten offenses blow. Well, you're not wrong. But here's the thing. That's why I said it's going to be important what they do on the ground, because that's what it's going to come down to. Yeah, can you make some opportunistic plays like what JJ had that throw to Roman Wilson? I get Ohio State. Their secondary is not Alabama. But here's the kicker, though. You brought up Penn State, and you know how I feel about James Franklin as it is, but for Nick Saban to give him a month to prepare, I think it is going to be a huge test. Like this, to me, and I know some Michigan fans, not saying you, but some would say Alabama. Like this, that Michigan's going to win this football game. I think to me, it's a coin flip, if I'm being real with you.
Yeah, and that's why I think Michigan is going to win. I'll say my prediction for a couple of minutes from now, but I think it's going to be a close game. And my one rebuttal to that, and I get it, Alabama with Nick Saban with a month to prepare is deadly, and they've proven that over many national championships over the years. But Alabama and Nick Saban have had a month to prepare in the past, I think, with better players, especially on the offensive side of the ball. Nobody's skill position wise. And I'm not even trying to be cocky or anything like that. If Alabama wants to say the same thing about Michigan, guys, go right ahead. No, none of their skill position players really scare me. The only thing on their offense that scares me is one, J.C. Latham, their one elite tackle, and Jalen Milroe making plays with his legs and throwing on the run and throwing deep. That's about it. Jace McClellan doesn't scare me. Jermaine Burton doesn't scare me. Isaiah Bond doesn't scare me. I was trying to do a James
I kind of
Bond
like
thing,
Isaiah Bond.
He's fine. He's a very fine receiver, but he's not the caliber that Alabama is used to. It's been wide receiver U for the past 15 years.
And Jermaine Burton, I mean, he's averaging 22 yards a catch, so he's a playmaker.
Sure.
But again, to your point, it's not about calling they're not trash, but they're not what Alabama's had.
Right.
But it's the same thing you make for Michigan. We already went through that. So I think it's.
But at least, and I think we have to all admit this, at the very least, I know he's not going to be a first rounder, but Blake Corum is an elite college running back. He had 1,400 yards last year, and this year he had 24 rushing touchdowns.
That is fair.
Jace McClellan is not an elite college running back, and even Donovan Edwards has had moments, not this year, definitely not this year, but last year of having elite games in big spots like at Ohio State and in the Big Ten Championship. So I think Michigan has an advantage when it comes to running backs. It's just, can they get it going consistently on the ground? And as I've also seen mentioned in the chat, the loss of Zach Zinner cannot be overstated. That could be detrimental to them as well, which is why I think Michigan's going to win an ugly game in which they punt the ball a ton, but they don't make mistakes.
Well, speaking of mistakes, JJ cannot make a mistake. Hopefully not return for 6. That would be preferred.
Honestly, bro, I don't think Michigan can turn the ball over one time. I think if they do, they lose.
I think it's that close of a game. Yeah. Like, I think it's that. We talk about room for error a lot with this Lions defense. It kind of goes back to this game here. I think it's close. And you're right, Sam. A turnover could flip the entire game. Let's go to break. When we come back, we'll give our score predictions. Lions, Cowboys, and then, of course, Alabama, Michigan. We'll give our final scores. We'll get to what's trending with JB. And then, of course, we'll get to mailbag. So be patient for that. Right now, though, got to tell you about our friends over at Planet Fitness, because it is the home of the judgment-free zone where anyone, and I mean anyone, can feel comfortable and work on their fitness goals. At Planet Fitness, you'll experience a squeaky clean gym that has tons of equipment, full-body workout, just 30 minutes, and all memberships include fitness training. You'll get all this for just $10 a month. No commitment. No matter where you are, there's a Planet Fitness close by and more than 50 in Metro Detroit and thousands more throughout the world. We'll see you guys right after the break. Oh, well, you know what? Come on back in. Let me tell you about our friends over at Jack Labrador. Because, guys, Jack Labrador, I know holidays are kind of over. I mean, New Year's Day is about to come up, but you can still get a game like Jack Labrador. You play with some of your buddies, you're drinking, you're having a good time, you're partying. Play this game. Jack Labrador, basically rock, paper, scissors, but there's more. There's more to do. And we played it here at Woodward Sports. We had a lot of fun. The guys over at Jack Labrador, great dudes. And, of course, another thing, just to spice up some parties, man. It's a lot of fun. Great for birthdays. It's great for just, hell, a bar game. You're drinking, play Jack Labrador. You can scan the QR code above or check out their website as well. To give you the website, I want to make sure I get this correct here because got to support our friends over at Jack Labrador. It is www.jacklabrador.com. Get your decks today.
Come to Lady Jane's for an award-winning haircut experience and register for a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to win an all-expenses-paid suite for the 2024 NCAA tournament for you and 5 of your best buds. Lady Jane's open 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. It's wicked awesome.
Brace yourselves, Detroit. As the sun begins to set, 2 of Woodward Sports' brightest young stars will be taking the mic for a brand new show. Woodward Nights with Spooner and Broder. The dog days in Detroit are over, and the boys are unleashed. Join in on the banter and hop on the bandwagon of the #1 night show on the internet. Tune into the Woodward Sports YouTube channel every weeknight from 8 to 10 p.m. Woodward Nights with Spooner and Broder.
18 locations. There's a Feldman dealership in your backyard. Visit feldmanauto.com to find the location nearest to you. Or you can catch us, Woodward Sports Network, live from Feldman Chevrolet in Novi every other Monday. You head over to the dealership, ask for Ryan or any of their great employees they have. Francis helped me get my new car after it was totaled. He can do the same for you. Feldman Chevrolet, Michigan's number one Chevy dealer. Number one Chevy dealer, kind of like the number one team in the country, which we're going to give our final scores for. Michigan, Alabama, Dallas, Detroit. We'll give it both out. I'll start with you, Sam. Let's start with Dallas. No, we'll go Michigan first. Let's go Michigan, Alabama first. Give me your final score. How do you see it playing out?
I've got Michigan 20, Alabama 17. Like I said, one of those low-scoring, grinded-out games where Michigan is going to have to stick and commit to the run, even if it's not always working successful, because at some point I think they're going to hit a big play or two. I think they're going to create that one turnover. I believe it's going to be a Will Johnson interception deep in Alabama territory that leads to a touchdown. And I think JJ might make a play or two on a crucial drive to get them another touchdown. I don't think he's going to have a huge game. I think if they win this game and go on to play Texas or Washington in the next round, that can be more of a JJ game. But I think it's going to be death by 1,000 paper cuts, a lot of ugliness, a lot of like mucking it up in this game. But I think Michigan wins a low-scoring game. I think they stop the run. I think Jalen Milroe maybe makes a play or two that's big and gets them a couple of scores. But I do think he turns the ball over once, and that is the difference in the game. Michigan 20, Alabama 17, and an ugly win. But any win in the Rose Bowl to get to the national championship is fine by me.
Here we go. Michigan. I'm not betting my hair on it. Not doing it.
Come on.
Not doing it. It bit me in the ass last year, JB. But what I am doing is I'm going to pick Michigan to win this football game.
Let's go.
24-20, Michigan wins. It took a lot of guts to say that, by the way, because I think Alabama, it's tough. And you know it's tough, Sam. I mean, you're a Michigan fan, but you picked this game because Michigan is the better team. They are, and they have to prove that. And this is a huge game for Jim. I think Michigan wins this football game. I do. And they go to the national championship, and Jim gets a good one on his resume, a win over Nick Saban. And we'll get to the national championship when they get there. I'm not going to say if they win or not, but guess what? Whatever happens, I do think Jim rides off into the sunset, and he goes back to the NFL, and he starts here by beating Nick Saban. Give me the Michigan Wolverines. JB, what about you?
Oh, this one's tough. Because, like I said, I'm not really a Michigan fan, but I want to see them win this game. But I just don't think it's going to happen. So give me Alabama 28-20. Michigan keeps this game extremely close, but lose on a last-minute interception in the fourth quarter from JJ.
What about you, Brandon? What do you think?
Hey, look, man, I was talking about this with Sam before. Towards the end of the season, those last 2 or 3 games, JJ looked a little hobbled, man. He had that kind of injury to his knee. He couldn't really scramble. Now he's had a month off. I really think that this is going to be the JJ game. Not that they're going to go out there and light it up, but that he's going to be really solid, man. He's not going to be a quarterback out there making mistakes. I think they have the recipe to win this thing 23-17. I really do.
Okay. I'd like listen, we got 3 Michigan, JB. I respect it. I wouldn't be shocked. I'm going to be honest with you. John Lord says Braylon and Ryan will extend their vacation if Michigan loses.
They probably will.
I didn't say it. You said it, John Lord. I didn't say it. You did.
Holiday.
I'm just reading the comment.
Well, they're not going to have to because...
because they win. We'll see. All right, let's get to Dallas, Detroit. Sam, I'll start with you. Give me your final score.
Oh, boy. This is a tough one.
Just back-to-back final score predictions here.
You look so uncomfortable,
yeah,
Sam.
You really look uncomfortable right now, man.
Lions win 31-30. I think they get it done. I really do. Obviously, I think that Dallas is able to score a lot of points, and it's going to be looking dicey at some point for the defense. I think the Lions are going to dominate on the ground in a similar way that the Buffalo Bills did, and I think that's going to set up some play-action throws to Amon-Ra when they need them, and hey, they maybe even hit a deep one to J-Mo. Here I am calling for maybe a deep J-Mo touchdown, but I think the play that flips the game, I think the Lions are able to create that one turnover, and my prediction for what that turnover is that Aiden Hutchinson, when Dak Prescott is back there, dropping back, he doesn't step up in the pocket, and Aiden Hutchinson gets a sack fumble in which
so
he just
detailed.
in which he just like knocks the ball out of his hands. It's recovered, and that is the
Did you
play
have like
that
a
flips the
dream
game.
last night? What the hell is this?
I may have had a dream, but that's not. Is that really that crazy?
No, it's not.
That's the turnover that flips the game, and the Lions win an extremely close game, 31-30.
We have a close score. I have 33-30. Lions.
Let's go.
Win by a field goal. Money Badger. 5 seconds left on the clock. Timeout. Lined up. Jerry World. Screaming. Badgley just goes out there, just flexes the shoulders a little bit. Knocks a 35-yard field goal through. They win the game. Money Badger. He gets raised up. He's hype. And everyone over here on Tuesday, will be like, yeah, Money Badger came up clutch. So you know what? Game-winning field goal. Lions win 33-30 on the road. They take care of the Cowboys. JB, what's your final score?
Actually, you and I have the same exact
Let's
score.
go.
33-30. Walk-off field goal from the Money Badger. The Lions carry him out of the stadium on their shoulders. Their shoulders.
He leaves with like 5 or 6 Dallas women just right behind him.
Right behind him.
Right from the arena. Just Walker Stadium, walking right out. That's going to be Money Badger. Brandon, give me your final score.
Look, I think this is going to be a game that plays out similarly to the Lions versus the Vikings, where the defense is going to have to make a stand to end the game, to win this for the Lions. And I think that they're going to do it, man. I've been like going back and forth if this is going to be very, very high scoring, or if the Lions have success running the ball, if it's going to actually bring that score, that overall score total down. I got the Lions winning this thing 31-24. With a last minute stop.
There you go. Look at all one-score games. That's how we feel. For both outings. That's how we feel about that one. I'll read some of these comments, then we'll go to break here. People chiming in, giving out their final scores. Thomas says Lions 32, Dallas 28. Benji says Dallas 27, Lions 24. Let's see. Denver Blair says Lions will win 32-24. Jesse Adams 31-27 Lions. Brad Hendricks, Toronto 122, Detroit 107.
Come on.
Wrong game.
Throw it in this Pistons score there. That sounds realistic, Brad. That one kid, 32-28 Lions. Let's see here. William Rhodes, 41-38 coin toss. I believe he would say the Lions win that one. Nicholas Earl, Lions win 42-17. Okay, Nicholas Earl. I like it. I like the optimism. Eduardo says Bama 30, Michigan 10. Okay. Robert says Detroit 42, Dallas 24. Eduardo says Dallas 36, Lions 30. Here we go. Nick says Michigan 28-24. Stephen David 38-35 Lions. 9 Drinks 38-17 Lions. Jay Cruzen 34-30 Lions. David Witt says 37-24 Lions, baby. Justin O 28-24. Denver Blair says 45 yards, Jeff. Okay. You know what? That'd be even better, Denver Blair. It's a 45-yard field goal.
Even more Dallas women stuff.
Now he's got 9 to 10 with them.
Yes.
Let's see. Not Worried says Michigan lucky to score 20, 28-20 Alabama.
Hey, they are lucky to score 20, but they're going to score exactly 20 and win 20-17. Gotcha.
There you go. Benji says PTSD of Stafford strip sack in the playoffs. Oh, gosh. Well, let's keep that juju away, Benji. Let's keep that juju away. Nicholas says Aiden ain't good.
I knew it was coming.
Let's see. David Witt, I want to read this one. Where is it? He says Trey Lance finishes the game. Okay. Eduardo, Gibbs walk-off touchdown.
Ooh.
Nick says, Jeff, are you will to have a shave head? I think he just mistyped that one. Shave head again with that specific series of events? No, I will not, Nick. I'm not putting my dome on the line there. I'm not doing that. All right, let's go to break. Got through some of the score predictions there. Good stuff, guys. We'll get back. We'll do What's Trending with JB, and then we'll get to mailbag. That's what we'll do here. First, though, got to hear about our friends from Premier Pet.
When it comes to your pet, don't settle. I don't settle when it comes to my golden retriever Jake and my orange cat Milo. They got all of their best Christmas presents from Premier Pet, and I didn't even have to spend a lot of money. So that's why you guys should go there. Give your pet the best like I give my pet the best. Premier Pet Supply is hands down Michigan's best pet store. Family owned and operated for over 30 years. 13 Metro Detroit locations, over 60 brands of food, lowest prices, and curbside home delivery. Premier Pet Supply, give your pet the best. Visit their website at premierpetsupply.com.
Calling all landscapers. This is Darren McCarty. I'm at Outdoor Equipment Co. How would you like to landscape like a legend? How about a bad boy zero turn? And even a chainsaw. And even a weed whipper. Whether you landscape for your job or landscape for fun, get all your equipment from Outdoor Equip Co., the official equipment provider of Woodward Sports. Michigan grown, family owned. OutdoorEquipCo.com.
Woodward Sports' own Tom Mazaway and Sam Stick Day will be hosting our Lions postgame show after every Lions game all season long. Tune into the Woodward Sports YouTube channel for his hot-off-the-press takes, game analysis, and Kool-Aid sipping celebrations. You won't want to miss it. Join Maz, Stick, and special guests each week immediately following every Lions game, exclusively on the WSN YouTube channel.
Your home is your most important asset. Flexibility in the sales process is key. When you work with Mark White & Associates, you can cancel at any time, for any reason, without penalty. Speaking of flexibility, check this out. Who you work with matters. Hire the best broker in the game.
Brace yourselves, Detroit. As the sun begins to set, two of Woodward Sports' brightest young stars will be taking the mic for a brand new show. Woodward Nights with Spooner and Broder. The dog days in Detroit are over, and the boys are unleashed. Join in on the banter and hop on the bandwagon of the #1 night show on the internet. Tune into the Woodward Sports YouTube channel every weeknight from 8 to 10 p.m. Woodward Nights with Spooner and Broder.
Let me tell you about our friends over at Morning Woodward Show. I'm just kidding. No ads. We're back. Welcome, everybody. Back to the Morning Woodward Show here on the Woodward Sports Network. Steve-O, baby. Really quickly, before we get into what's trending with JB, says, Mailbag Jeff, are you on the Booner Path? This Booner Path stuff, man. All right, real quick, Steve, I'll answer that at 9:50. But first, JB, what do you got for us today?
Yo, what is going on? So I know I've been out of the loop and I've been missing for a little bit, but have you guys checked out the Pop-Tart Bowl that was yesterday? Check this trophy out right here.
Dude, what the hell is that?
I know, the Pop-Tart Bowl. Those are actually two real Pop-Tarts right there on top of the trophy. But the mascot was crazy.
Oh
There was a giant Pop-Tart toaster on the field, and then this guy popped out of it. And if you don't know, K-State won. Spoiler alert if you haven't watched this game. But the mascot was just all over the field, causing havoc and kind of making fun of everyone out there. I think a lot of people enjoyed it. But the most disturbing part about this is that the winner got to devour a giant Pop-Tart. And like I said, spoiler alert, K-State won, and they got to eat on this Pop-Tart. But what started out as a good idea just turned a little disturbing, because look at this. What? And it just got worse and worse after that. And I don't know whose idea this was, but this is terrifying. This is literally terrifying.
I mean, guys.
So my question to you guys, like, is it too much bowl games that we've had so far? And would you be willing to take a piece of this giant, disturbing-looking Pop-Tart?
What are we doing here? You know what? F it. Just have a dildo bowl. I mean, at this point, I honestly just have a dildo bowl. Have a giant dildo walking around.
Are there too many bowl games? Like, come on.
Like what are we doing? This is the Pop-Tart Bowl.
I mean, the trophy did look kind of sweet. I mean, I'm not gonna lie.
JB.
I mean, I wouldn't mind having it.
Pop-Tart Bowl.
It's an elaborate toaster.
You eat a Pop-Tart if you win.
It was a giant Pop-Tart that everyone got to devour. Like I said, it was a good idea to start, but in the end, this just turned disturbing. Like, this is nightmare. This is what nightmares are made of right here. Like, come on.
No. And the funny thing is it's Kansas State and North Carolina State. It's not like one of the lower end bowl games. It's just, here's the thing. I love college football. I don't mind all the bowl games, but when you have a Pop-Tart Bowl, that's where you kind of lose people. And the people who are going to be like, oh, there's too many bowl games, they're going to point to the Pop-Tart Bowl. What the hell even is this? It's just, I think it's too much fodder for mocking at this point.
I vote for the Cocaine Bowl. And whoever wins just snorts a line of cocaine. Like, that should be like, let's just start getting creative. Like, this is all boring. Like, let's start throwing the Cocaine Bowl, the Crack Bowl.
The Crack.
That's a good one. The Crack Bowl.
The Crack Bowl.
That's a good one. Winner just
Crack Bowl.
for all the
Kraken Bowl.
All the free crack you can smoke if you win the bowl. And at this point, it feels like
smoke rocks, Joe Rogan.
I see this one. Danny G
Smoke this
says.
crack with me, bro.
Danny G says OnlyFans Bowl. That's probably next. Winner gets free subscriptions. What are we doing?
That might not be a bad idea. Trademark.
Holy hell!
So winners get to be a simp.
Yep.
Basically,
that's how that works. Yep.
You don't want to be subscribing to OnlyFans, people. Come on now.
that is bad.
Get yourself a woman.
David Witt says Dildo Bowl, Dak versus Aaron Rodgers. There you go.
Jesus Christ.
Crazy Clown says the Porn Bowl. Honestly, let's just go all the way, guys. Like, what do we? Okay.
The Trojan Condom Bowl. There we go.
You know what? When this started, when I finally started thinking about this, is the Mayo Bowl, and the winner got dumped with the coach got dumped with mayo. Like, how, dude?
Will Levis would have loved that.
Will Levis was probably heartbroken that the
he would have been a kid in a candy shop.
Couldn't go to the Duke's Mayo Bowl.
Jesus,
Duke's Mayo Bowl.
Let's see. Booner says, "Nope, Jeff, you're already locked into the dildo bowl. Hey, F it, dildo bowl. Let's do it.
All right."
Have a giant dildo walking around the football field. Like, at this point, we're just go all the way with it. That is crazy, JB.
I know. It was weird. It was disturbing. I found it just off-putting, and I had to turn off TV at that point. But that was just bad.
Crazy Clown says the Krusty Sock Bowl. All right, we're getting this.
That's it for what's trending with JB. Back to you guys.
We got to get the hell out of here. Let's go to break here. Like, damn it. All right, we're going to break. Get out of here. Get your questions ready. We'll answer as many as we can. But first, I got to tell you about the Hamlin Bowl, the Hamlin Pub Bowl. That should be the next one because it is a bar where you can be known as a regular. Ever want to go to a place where you can experience where everyone is a regular? Well, they got 7 locations. Join the Woodward Sports Lions post-game show. They are there typically to break down games, but instead you just go there to have a good drink. I might be there on Saturday to watch the game with my father, so I can't wait for it. They got one in Rochester, of course, but experience your new favorite pub for all things sports.
Since the dawn of moving people, Chevrolet has led the way. The world of transportation is changing. At Feldman Chevrolet, we are leading the charge forward. With every electric vehicle, every mile traveled, one Feldman at a time. The company that puts more Chevys on Michigan roads is now the #1 name for Chevy electric vehicles.
Now, coming to Woodward Sports, Woodward and Main Street, the Woodward Sports Network Detroit Lions Show. Let's go! Catch Gabrielle D. Phillips, Matt Broder, and Terry Foster for all the latest news on your Detroit Lions every week. Only on the Woodward Sports Network YouTube channel and woodwardsports.com.
Where's the most convenient place to get that big fitness energy?
It's Planet Fitness.
Join today for just $1 down, $10 a month. With over 2,400 locations and equipment for every workout, you can get in, get energized, and get going. And with free fitness training and most clubs open 24 hours, everyone belongs in the judgment-free zone. So join today for $1 down, $10 a month, no commitment, cancel anytime.
Join Woodward Sports and Long Drink live every home game for the official Lions VIP tailgate party. It's at Eastern Market in Shed number 5, and it is always a bash starting at 9:30 a.m. until game time. The official Lions tailgate is back and better than ever. How would you like to pregame with Woodward Sports and be treated like a VIP? Food, beverages, and entertainment all included. Get your tickets online today at bullseyeeventgroup.com or win some from Woodward Sports today. Just subscribe to our YouTube, follow us on IG, and direct message Lions VIP.
Let's get into mailbag. Questions are already coming in, and I want to start this one off with a question that's kind of been coming in. Norman asks at Mailbag, I listen every day but never got a chance to comment, so please, Sam or Jeff, if the Rams beat the 49ers and we win the next 4 games, what happens? I'm asking just because I want to hear. Well, there's only 2 games left. So if the Rams beat the 49ers and you win the next 4 games, that would mean you're in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, because you'd be the number 1 seed.
Well,
right?
no, you'd win the Wait.
No, you'd be in
it. Okay, excuse me. Yeah. You'd have the 1 seed, you'd have the bye week, and then, of course, you win. You get in the Super Bowl. So, yeah, 4 games would be you're in the Super Bowl. But if you're talking about the next 2 games and the Rams beat the 49ers, you have the 1 seed. That's how that works, Norman. I don't know if you meant 4 games or not, but if they're in the Super Bowl then. So, there you go.
Interesting.
There's your answer. All right, next question here. Nick says, Mailbag, as time travel is not possible, but we may be able to bend space to get somewhere faster than the speed of light. Is it possible we could see the past if we travel far enough out? What?
Is that a science question?
Are we watching Donnie Darko now?
Did you just eat shrooms, Nick? Did you just eat shrooms?
He played in a crack bowl.
Hey.
Nick just participated in the crack bowl. He's in deep thought right now. I mean, yes. It's like one of those memes. Yes or no. Not reading all that. Sorry for your loss or congratulations. That was my response.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Sorry, Nick. That's it's definitely the crack bowl. the crack bowl. All right, let's get to some more of these questions. They're coming in. Jesse says, thoughts on this parlay, fellas? Gibbs, Laporta, Cooks, TDs. St. Brown alternate 50 yards. Gibbs alternate rushing yards. How much? Gibbs alternate rushing yards. Lions money line. It's 3,500 plus 3,500 on FanDuel. Jesse, I might need to let me just kind of screenshot
copy
that.
one.
I'm gonna take that one, Jesse. Thank you for that. Yeah, I like it. I'm gonna be honest with you. I like it. I think Cooks definitely scores. I think that's just like that's just somebody you'd see scoring, just a random score.
I don't hate it.
Yeah, I don't either.
I'd probably take it, honestly. That's not bad. That's pretty impressive. I'm looking at that being like, oh yeah, I mean, especially with a high-scoring game that we're predicting. Predicting a Lions win in a high-scoring game, there's gonna have to be a lot of touchdowns. So
fair.
Very, very nice parlay.
Bada Bing Bada Boom says that's a fair question, referring to Nick and his time traveling question.
Is it?
Nick says, Jeff, your face was worth that. Was so worth it. Okay, well there you go. Threw me off for a second there. People, cocaine, Michigan, Mailbag. If Michigan gets blown out, should the Big Ten be excluded from the playoff next year like the ACC was this year?
No, but they're not going to get blown out. They're going to win.
Okay. All right. Dante says, Mailbag, did you guys see what happened to see the interview between Ryan Fitzpatrick and Aaron Rodgers, and can the Pistons start Ivy and Kate at the beginning of the games for the Pistons, a.k.a. the Pictons? Did you guys see what happened? Did you see the interview between Ryan Fitzpatrick and Aaron Rodgers? I did not. Did you?
No.
I didn't either.
What happened, Dante? Give us the, you got to fill us in there so I can read it. I did not see that. All right. Danny G, Mailbag. Jeff, how much cocaine would you do at the Cocaine Bowl? Well, it just depends if I win or not, Danny. Because if I win, then of course, I mean, I guess you got to at that point. The whole team's doing cocaine.
I mean, let's be honest. It's the Cocaine Bowl. I think if you go, everyone wins.
I'm like Scarface.
Let's be real.
I'd be like Tony Montana, just sticking my face in there, I guess. But in all seriousness, I do not do cocaine. I don't know if that's like an actual thing. But no, I don't. But if you win the Cocaine Bowl, JB, you have to. You know what I mean?
I mean, at least not on TV, but you can indulge.
You can indulge. That's fair. Bada bing, bada boom. Love the name. I keep saying that, but that name is legendary. Mailbag, why do you think Jerry Jones picked the Detroit game for his Jimmy Johnson ceremony? Should Detroit feel insulted? If we win, though, that's 2 ceremonies that we crashed, KC and Dallas. I didn't even think about that, to be honest with you. 2 ceremonies they'd crash. Yeah, it is interesting that they pick it just because I think it's a big game and it's like New Year's Eve. It's that game. Technically, it's on Saturday, so I think it's just the magnitude of the game. I think that's why Jimmy Johnson's going to be there. Ring of Honor.
Sometimes you gotta manifest bulletin board material when it's not there. So you know what? Go right ahead, Danny Campbell. Give them a pregame speech about how no one respects you. How Dallas thinks they're just going to have their party. But the Lions are there to crash it, and we all have them winning that game, so go crash it.
This question, and it kind of does, it is an interesting goal. He said, or excuse me, an interesting question. Let's see here. Thomas, or was it Thomas? Oh, Thor Neal. He says, Mailbag, will you guys be surprised to see Hooker in this game? I would be shocked if he's in this game. I absolutely would be shocked. Jordan says, what's the most iconic play in Detroit sports history?
God, that's tough.
I would say one of there's a couple big plays. I would say D-Mac's 97 Stanley Cup playoff goal, kind of clinching that Western Conference Finals. I think that's up there because of the significance of it and the history and everything that came into that. But there's a lot of plays you could bring up.
Yeah. It's tough because
I have to think about that one for a second.
When you think
that's a great question.
When you think about championship teams for Detroit, I don't think of too many like iconic moments in terms of sports pantheon. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that because you win a championship. It is what it is. But
and Darren McCarty, of course, his game-winning goal in the Stanley Cup Finals.
More like insurance goal when you're already up 3-0 in the series and 1-0.
Well, game 4, they swept the Flyer. It was a big goal.
Oh,
all
yeah,
right, it was a big goal, and that was D-Mac. That's my guy. So of course I'm putting him up there. But I see a couple comments coming in.
Well, I mean, maybe that against Portland, that Joe Dumars floater that seemed like it was going to touch the top of the arena and dropped right in. That was a pretty good one.
Justin says Yzerman OT winner 96. That's another one. Prince block I see coming in. That's a big one.
That was a good one.
Tayshaun
And
Prince.
it happened on Reggie Miller, overrated fraud Reggie Miller. So that was my.
That's another
thing.
one.
Yeah.
Justin says Konstantinov with the cup in 98. There's some Red Wings moments for sure. This one, Ediz says Jeff Finney Johnson 1990, Gibby 84. There you go. Dante says the half-court shot for the Pistons to force overtime. That's
a good one. I will never forget that one.
Yeah, no, it's up there. I was outside at least my brothers too. I mean, we all used to just shoot half-court shots just because of that shot. Like,
really?
Yeah, like just mess around, like envision you're in the same scenario. That's up there. I agree with Brad Hendricks though. This one tops all of them. The Dan Orlovsky end zone safety.
Ooh,
I think that's got to be up there.
That's. It's one
Depends on how you think of iconic. Is that positive or negative? I kind of like that one.
It's one of the ultimate follies in football history. Like, for real.
Yeah.
Who does that?
It's up there.
Yeah. The Maglio home run. That's another one. When I was thinking of iconic moments, I was trying to think in championship runs, and unfortunately that 06 team fell to the fucking 83 win Cardinals in the World Series. I hate the Cardinals so much.
Let's see, Jesse Adams mailbag. What's more sad, people still going to the Pistons games or how Tom is saying the same shit he did before the Blake Griffin deal?
Damn.
Say Tom's comments.
Yeah, I'm with you. I get it. It's frustrating. Tom's comments, I'd say. I mean, what's more sad? People still going to the bed. It's sad, but also it speaks to, people still want to watch the Pistons. I don't know exactly what they're watching. It's not wins, but it speaks to the city, even though they're vocal. I love that. They're passionate. Now, Tom's comments are I get that. They can be frustrating. The last thing people want to hear right now on a 29 game losing streak, whatever the hell it is, I lost track, is Tom saying patience. Like, it ain't like the Lions where a couple games, it's different. It's the NBA. It's a long, stressful, just excruciating season when you're losing. It sucks. Yeah. All right, let's get out of here. See you guys. Appreciate you. Thank you so much. Have a great weekend. Have a blessed weekend. Have a safe New Year's. Seriously, if you guys are going out, be safe. Hopefully, you guys have a ton of fun. If you get hungover, if you're drunk as hell coming into Tuesday still, we'll be here for you. We'll entertain you on Tuesday. We'll have a great show planned for you guys. Of course, don't forget Saturday, 5:30 to 7:30 is the Lions pregame show. That is me. That is Booner. That is the rest of the guys here. We'll have a post-game show, live stream as well. Check that out on Saturday. Monday, there'll be a Michigan pregame show and a live stream watch party for that as well. Some of the content planned for the weekend from Jeff Ifredi, my guy, Sam Flannel, of course, Brandon Dent, and JB, who's back in the booth. The GOAT. We're happy he's back. Appreciate you, Kenji, but at the same time, JB, man, he's freaking JB. All right, we'll see you guys. Big D Energy, Ermanni Edwards with Maz, Heavyweights, check those guys out. And of course, Woodward Nights, close your night with those guys. And I think I'm doing sound on Big D Energy.
Oh,
Yeah, I think Mike Gentry's out today. So I guess I'll see you in a little bit. Deuces.